This is Darlington, the world's greatest stock car race.
Darlington, South Carolina, where NASCAR's roots run deep. Through 75 action-packed years, this iconic venue has seen it all, where skill and speed are pushed to their limits, at a track they say is too tough to tame. Today, we honor the brave and the bold that have come before us.
This is a great day, boy. I can't believe we won this race like this.
With an opportunity to create a legend of your own.
Got the checker and he
flag.
wins it. Little car like Darlington, doesn't it?
This is Darlington.
Welcome back to the Goodyear 400 from South Carolina's famed Darlington Raceway, the home of NASCAR since 1950. NASCAR's first super speedway. 1 3/8 miles, different corners at each end. What a challenge this place is. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Choi, and I'm usually joined by Clint Boyer and Kevin Harvick. But since it's Throwback weekend and there's some great old race cars on the property, well, they hopped aboard and went for a ride, courtesy of the Wood Brothers, celebrating their 75th anniversary as a Ford team in NASCAR. We have Clint Boyer driving Neil Bonnett's 81 Thunderbird that Neil Bonnet won the Southern 500 in. That's got a 351 Cleveland in it. Kevin Harvick is driving the first car that David Pearson raced for the Wood Brothers. He won here in the spring of 1972 in his first ride for Glenn and Leonard Wood and never looked back. How's the view from the windshield, fellas?
It feels pretty good. Pretty typical in front of Boyer, so.
Let me tell you something. I always wanted to drive a famed Wood Brothers car. Finally got my chance. Cannot believe this opportunity came. Legendary race team, legendary family, legendary racetrack. Both of these cars saw victory lane at Darlington right here. This 81 Ford Mustang is, excuse me, it's a Thunderbird.
You're a Thunderbird.
We're selling Mustangs later. Thunderbird back in 81. This baby is awesome.
This thing runs great, Clint. I can't believe how well they've taken care of these cars. This is pretty unbelievable to be able to ride these cars around this racetrack, thanks, like you said, to the Wood Brothers. But, man, how many laps do you think we should do like what Richard Petty did here and just run extra laps?
Well, I just wish you'd get the hell out of the way.
We can get ourselves in enough trouble talking. How many laps do you think we can take?
Oh, I'm good for at least 10.
Okay.
Kevin, that Mercury that David Pearson drove, the Wood Brothers ran Mercury before they switched back to Ford. How about the sticks of gum taped to the dash there? You need one of those? David Pearson did.
Whoa. I'm not sure what they got going on here, but they don't realize the brakes in this thing aren't very good.
They didn't have much brakes back then, Kev.
Yeah, we didn't need much, but Mike, it's
All right, well, Kevin, that's got a Boss 429 under the hood, so just kind of take it easy there. There's Delano Wood.
Hey!
He was the jackman on that famous team with Len and Eddie and Kim. And now we're going to go to Jamie Little with the man who guided Jim Clark to victory at Indianapolis.
Leonard Wood standing out here at the start-finish line. Mike Leonard, to watch your cars drive by, to see all these throwback paint schemes, what does that mean to you?
Well, we started 75 years ago, and to think of the paint scheme that John come up with, the IndyCar, 60 years ago we pitted at, 70 years of memories, just how many memories we got in 75 years, and it's just been I think it's the most awesome paint scheme they've ever come up with, and because it connected both together, and it's been a very exciting week for me.
Thank you for all that you and the family did for the sport. I'm going to let you go over. He's going to give the command to fire engines, Mike.
Yeah, the entire Wood Brothers family team, 3 generations worth, are being honored here on the occasion of their 75th anniversary in NASCAR. So, let's go trackside.
Darlington Raceway. Let's give a big NASCAR welcome to this historic family, the Wood Brothers family. In celebration of their 75th anniversary, they are here to say the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
It's been called the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame, and today it's the site of the Goodyear 400.
Engines are roaring as the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the famed Darlington Raceway. There are many reasons why this track has made its mark on the sport since opening its doors back in 1950. Not only is Darlington NASCAR's oldest superspeedway, but it also features an egg-like shape unlike any other track in the circuit. Drivers will be pushed to their limits as they tackle the track's tight, unforgiving corners, its abrasive surface, and progressive banking. You'll see drivers often racing a high line, coming extremely close to the wall as they round corners. This allows drivers to carry more speed through the corners, giving them an advantage as they enter straightaways. Darlington is often referred to as the Lady in Black, since cars leave black tire scuffs on the wall from racing such a high line. We caught up with driver Chase Briscoe to talk about why racing at Darlington is so special.
Running around Darlington is probably the most fun you're ever having in a race car. It's just such a challenge. It's such a unique racetrack. You know, turns 1 and 2 are complete opposites of turns 3 and 4. You're slipping, sliding around, you're right on the wall, and it's just got this intimidation factor and this level of respect that it asks for.
This weekend is all about tradition, as NASCAR celebrates Throwback Weekend. You can expect to see your favorite cars with iconic throwback paint schemes to honor legendary drivers. As we celebrate NASCAR's rich history, one driver will write history of their own when they pull into victory lane. Last year, Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe proved they had what it takes to conquer Darlington Raceway. Who will rise to the occasion today? Let's find out.
Darlington, South Carolina, where Harold Brasington built this beautiful racetrack after a trip to Indianapolis. He wanted something like it in the South. It opened in 1950, and here it is. "18 different drivers finished in the top 10 in last year's 2 races here. Briscoe and Hamlin the only ones to double up. You don't want to lead the most laps here. You won't be in front at the finish. 9 drivers snapped 50-plus race winless streaks here at Darlington, including Keselowski and Briscoe last year, so root for the underdog. Well, I don't know where Clinton Kevin went, so I've enlisted my old partner and booth mate Larry McReynolds to dial up our pole sitter today.
Yeah, let's dial up William Byron. William, the guy's in the Fox booth. You got me? Willie B., Larry Mack in the Fox booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, Larry, I got you. What's up?
Well, buddy, yesterday you turned the fastest qualifying lap ever been turned at Darlington in this Gen 7 car, but that was 1 lap on sticker tires. How about 293 laps today? Not to mention, buddy, it's hot and slick.
Yeah, for sure. It's hot, and I feel like the racetrack's going to be changing constantly, so just gotta keep up with that. This place is a lot of fun. It's a big challenge, so I look forward to it.
William, you won here 2 years ago, so you know what it takes to get around this racetrack. But what about the discipline to run around a track that was designed for about 100 miles an hour slower than you're running and running right against the wall?
Yeah, it's just, you know, there's a lot of imperfections about this place. The wall doesn't really track straight, so you're always looking for little imperfections where you can make a difference. And I feel like that's what makes it a lot of fun, because you can move around and find some of the, you know, cutouts in the track that are different.
Well, good luck, buddy. I know Rick's at home watching. He's ready for another Darlington win.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you, man.
William Byron starts on the pole. Here's our Goodyear 400 starting grid. It's his second Darlington pole and his first since 2019. Boy, Ryan Preece is on a roll. 3 straight top 10 finishes, and he has the outside pole for the 4th time in his career. Row number 2, Denny Hamlin, 4-time Darlington winner, and he won last week. Chase Briscoe, the 2024 Southern 500 winner here. Here's a look at Denny Hamlin's win last week at Martinsville, where he had been such a master in the past, but not in the last decade. Well, Denny delivered, leading a lot of laps and ending up in victory lane. Regan Smith.
Well, Mike, that win last week represented Denny Hamlin's 55th Cup Series victory, tying him on the all-time list at 11th with Rusty Wallace. But it also represented the 7th crew chief that Denny has won with in the Cup Series. Chris Gale, of course, getting his first win with Denny Hamlin last week. When I spoke to Chris earlier today, he told me, yes, it was a lot of relief off of their shoulders to get that victory together. But that is also the expectation. And as we look forward to today, this is the track that Denny has his second best average finish of all tracks on the Cup circuit with 8.2 is his average finish in 25 races. So don't expect anything less out of that 11 team this afternoon.
Thanks, Regan. Row number 3, Bubba Wallace in a Toyota, and Austin Cindric in that number 2 Ford that looks a lot like Dale Earnhardt's 1980 championship car. Row number 4, Tyler Reddick has led more laps here than any other track. And Kyle Busch, the 2008 Darlington winner and runner-up here last fall. Row number 5, Ryan Blaney driving his father's Busch Series winning car, and Michael McDowell, 3 top 10s in the last 6 races here. Row 6, Ty Gibbs, the runner-up in this race last year, and Todd Gilliland in a Ford with his best ever Darlington start. Carson Hocevar paced practice yesterday in his Chevrolet, and Chris Buescher's Ford, he has 3 top 10s in the last 4 races here. Then it's Chase Elliott in a Ken Schrader-inspired scheme on his Chevrolet, and Zane Smith driving a Ford for Front Row. Row 9, Christopher Bell honoring his mentor, sprint car ace Rick Ferkel, and Joey Logano honoring the hometown hero Cale Yarborough. Row number 10, Kyle Larson, the 2023 Southern 500 winner, and Brad Keselowski, last year's winner of this race. Here's Jamie Little.
Mike, Kyle Larson's given us plenty to talk about this weekend. He unveiled his Indy 500 paint scheme. Then earlier today, he won Best Throwback Paint Scheme for this race. And of course, we've talked a lot about it, brand new pit crew moving forward. Well, he hopes those storylines continue for his on-track effort. In talking to him about the heat of this track today, he said it plays right into his hands. He says the crazier, the more challenging it is inside the race car, the better it is for him. Kyle Larson hoping to get his second win at Darlington. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Well, crew chief, what do you got for us today?
Well, Mike, Darlington is one of the toughest racetracks we go to get that handling right, to find the balance between the two ends of the racetrack. You don't want it tight, the front tire sliding, but you don't want the rear hung out, abusing those rear tires. So let's go to our Toyota Camry cutaway car, and let's look at a handling tube under the rear of the car. The Gen 7 car has independent rear suspension. Look at that anti-roll bar or rear sway bar, and it does exactly what it says. In travel, it resists the roll in the race car. Now, how it hooks to the suspension on the left rear and the right rear are those drop links right there with the heim joint. Now, how you adjust the stiffness of the sway bar is through those green blades right there. When you turn it straight up and down, that's the stiffest setting. When you lay it on its side flat right there, that's the softest setting. You can adjust it on the left rear or the right rear. There's also 3 different settings in between stiff and soft. Now again, this tool is used to control the resistance of the roll in the rear of the car. I walked through the garage here, about half the cars are running the rear sway bar. The real improvement in running that is helping the car in traffic, but you have to be careful. You have to keep that car tight because it's going to be turning so good.
Thanks, Larry. 85 degrees is the temperature here. Winds out of the southwest and a lot of big puffy clouds, but no rain in the forecast. The asphalt right now at 122 degrees, and I'll bet it feels just that in those grandstands. So it's hot today, Regan.
Well, Mike, it is hot today, and if you can imagine how hot it's going to be inside of these race cars, I want you to take a look at a little bit of technology here that drivers will be using. This is the cool shirt many of these race car drivers use right now. You see these veins in it. The water actually flows through this. They plug this in when they get into the race car into a device that looks like a radiator. It then cycles the water through, keeping them cool, not only on the front, but as well on the back of their chest. This goes underneath their driver's uniform. This is one of the best things that these guys can have on a hot day like this, but We have seen these things go bad. Last week, as a matter of fact, 3 of them went bad for different reasons. When that happens, this turns into scalding water inside this suit, and that becomes a major problem for the driver. So keep an eye on that today. While this is very good, if something happens and it doesn't work, it could be a problem as well.
There's Tyler Reddick wearing one of those suits as he and Riley Herbst walk toward their cars. Here's today's race analysis. 400 miles is today's distance. That's 293 laps. 90, 95, and 108 are the stage lengths. 45 miles an hour on pit road. Here's what some of the drivers expect today.
Yeah, so probably my favorite track in the first bit is Darlington. Love that place. It's one of the toughest tracks I've ever done. I can't imagine 2 corners ever being so difficult.
I would say that one of the toughest tracks is Darlington because you've changed so much. Darlington has to be one of the tougher racetracks.
Yeah, I'd say Darlington. That's been a place I feel like, you know, the past year and a half, 2 years, no matter how good or bad the car might be driving in practice, I know that we're going to be fast in the race.
All right, Larry has today's Keystone Light race strategy.
Well, Mike, it's so easy. 4 tires every stop, every chance you get. Split all 3 stages in half, maybe that final stage at 108 laps, possibly in the thirds, and it's about give and take. Race the racetrack. This old racetrack is your toughest competitor today.
Thanks, Larry. Kevin, how much power did that Boss 429 have? That was a real Wood Brothers race engine in both those cars.
Well, we need to take that motor out and put it right in one of these things. That's how much power it had. Those things were awesome to drive, and I just can't believe that they ran as fast as they did in those cars after sitting in there. It's not like anything I've ever driven.
They were nuts, Mike. He went to hit the brakes. No brakes. I'm like, hey, buddy, they're drum brakes on that baby. All horsepower, no stopping with them things. I can't believe we got that opportunity. Felt so good, and he cannot tell you just how much horsepower those have. It's crazy. It blew my mind.
I'm jealous. That looked like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you to the Wood Brothers for letting us drive those 2 historic cars. But that's what this weekend is all about, to be able to show the history and the heritage of this sport, to have those cars and people at the racetrack with the Wood Brothers family. And that goes to almost every team in the garage, so a lot of history in this sport.
Now, most days you can see both of those cars in the Wood Brothers Museum in Stuart, Virginia.
Yeah.
So how about today?
Well, that's the hardest part, Kevin. We got to go back to our day job. I'm on such a high from being in those cars. That racetrack, hot and slick, going to have a workload through the roof today, up by the wall. Everybody out here, Kevin, is talking about tight after practice yesterday.
Yeah, and you have to be patient as a driver. This racetrack, you have to race the racetrack, and I know that you'll hear us say that a lot today. So easy to make a mistake. When that sun goes in and out, you're going to have some handling characteristics that are different, so it's going to be a full workload, like you say, for the drivers.
And it starts right here off of turn 2, very narrow off of turn 2, especially on restart.
Boys, we're coming to green. That Ford Mustang Dark Horse pace car that Clint drove Friday has headed for pit road. Nice crowd on hand. Hot day in the Carolinas, and here they come. William Byron, Preece, Chevy, and Ford front row. Green flag waves. The Goodyear 400's underway.
Always one of the hardest parts of the race right there, coming off of turn 2, trying to get single file 2 wide, and you're going to see these guys run the bottom of the racetrack all the way below that line, but you're going to pay the price if you run down there too long, Clint. You have to be able to take care of the tires, or this car will burn that right rear tire off.
Take care of the tires. When does that start, Kevin?
Now. It starts right now, but you can't give up any track position at the beginning of these restarts. You have to protect yourself and put yourself in a position to maintain or minimize the loss of track position as much as you can.
Ryan Blaney dives low in the corner, trying to pick up not 1 but 2 spots, and does.
Yeah, and what's cool about that turn 3 and 4. I mean, realistically, you're about off the racetrack right there. Those hash marks kind of just a suggestion at this place. You can get low, but you better not do it long. Scrubs a lot of tire, Kev.
Yeah, and you see him right there funnel off at turn 2. There's a patch of asphalt. It's kind of blended in to be gray like the rest of the racetrack, but a lot of grip off at turn 2, but still very difficult to run too wide as you see Blaney shoot down below those hash marks. And as those hash marks get rubbered up, those things get more grip, and I used to love to use those things and hook that right side tire on those hash marks.
Track workers were late into the night repainting the walls red and white here at Darlington.
We'll be painting them again Monday.
We'll have the stripe count for you as we go through the day.
Oh, no!
Kyle Larson. Backstretch.
Off of 2. Kevin, you had just told us about how narrow it is over there. There's another problem. There's a bump.
Yeah, and the way that these cars run, a lot of times they bottom out and it'll just jump the back of the car out from underneath you.
Boy, that car's hurt.
Rolling if you can.
Larson was running 19th when the car got out from under him. Half the field has come to pit road under this first caution flag of the day for Kyle Larson at lap number 4. Here's Denny Hamlin's pit stop. The 2311 cars leaving.
Well, I like this. I always want to be on offense, and that first run of the race is always a little bit harder on the tires. With the racetrack clean, get a quick adjustment on your car, and these guys are going to be able to be on offense and try to go forward.
Ryan Blaney had to back up in his pit stall to leave to avoid this car, the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. Regan?
Mike, just to follow up on what Kevin just said about being on the offense, that's exactly what Chris Gale and Denny Hamlin's team were thinking right there. They figured they were going to be one of the last cars in line that stayed out on those 3-lap tires and were worried about that, so the option was to put the driver on the offense instead.
All right, let's take a look at what happened to Kyle Larson at turn 2.
Well, you're going to see Kyle Larson right back here. He's going to get those left side tires below those hash marks, and that's in that section. It was before the bump that car took off, and the way that they repaved that section, it doesn't really flow like the banking does. It's much harder to cross. So getting those left side tires on the apron right there, really
banking, right?
Yeah, and it's already pretty edgy when you're side by side like that, and having to pinch that car down and touching the apron at the same time. Just spun out.
And here's what happened on Ryan Blaney's stop. You can see he stops deep in the box, almost right up to the white line. Right side's done. They come around to the left, and you see the pit board waving for Van Gisbergen, who comes in, and he's stopped at the outside part of his box. So Blaney has to back up.
Actually did a good job backing up and getting out of there as good as possible.
Yeah, and these cars are super hard to turn when they're going slow. It feels like you got to turn the wheel 3 times. So Kyle Larson to the garage,
where they can repair that car and come back into the race.
Yeah, didn't. Just said right there at the beginning of the race, Kevin, turn 2 is definitely one of the turns that is the trickiest here, especially door to door. Run out of real estate. There's an apron and even the bump now. That bump is massive. They can unload the car as you got wheel in it, spins people out.
And before they repaved that section of the corner, you could use the apron to kind of cheat down the racetrack, and I think that's what Kyle was trying to do, was cheat down the racetrack a little bit to give himself room to Logano. But now that transition of the inside lane and the outside lane are sharper, it makes it much tougher.
So the first of the drivers that did pit is Bubba Wallace, who is 17th. Byron, Priest, Cindric, Briscoe, Bush, McDowell all stayed out. Back to green. Three wide, turn 2.
Well, that's those old tires and new tires coming. To see a lot of cars tied almost into the fence there, 2 or 3 deep of rows. That's one thing when you go back on a refire, Kevin, on old tires, trying to figure out how much grip it gave up.
Well, and these guys up in the front of the pack, they want to run as far away as they can, get singled out as much as they can, because they know that those new tires are going to get to a point of catching them in some way, shape, or form. But track position is still going to be very, very, it's going to be king, I guess is the best way to put it. There's going to be a point where the tires take over from that track position, but we'll have to see if the 4 or 5 laps that they ran, if that's going to take place.
Todd Gilliland, Michael McDowell, teammates last year, not so this year.
Look at this.
Yeah.
You see Denny Hamlin on the outside coming 3 wide. That's what he has. That's tires coming on the old tires, everybody in the way. A lot of different agendas all of a sudden. Creates a hornet's nest.
The first 16 cars on the restart had not stopped. Cars with tires. Buscher has made his way up to 8th. Wallace up to 11th. Gibbs, Reddick, Nemechek all at the back of the top 20 trying to advance here.
That really showed you the difference in tires with Nemechek on the outside and Reddick blowing his doors off on those new tires.
And that's the hard part when you have a mixed tire strategy like that. Denny got stuck behind that car, and Reddick was able to drive right by on the bottom.
Have to be patient. This is a racetrack where they always told me, the old analogy, race the racetrack. It's never been more true than right here at Darlington.
Wallace past Chastain here. That's 10th place.
Yeah, and he's the first one on those new tires. He's made his way through traffic really well. Such a difficult racetrack at the beginning of these races, Clint, because you know the adjustments that you made on your car from practice. You're trying to fill your car out. You're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to make progress forward. You're trying to decide where to run on the racetrack. So many decisions to make. But as we saw with Kyle Larson, the line that you cross here is much thinner than everywhere else that we go because of the room on the racetrack and the grip in the tires.
Larry, when will these drivers that got new tires at lap 6, when will this equal out with the drivers that did not stop?
Well, I think in about probably 8 to 10 laps, Mike. Right now, you look at William Byron in that 24 car. There's just, Clinton, Mike, Kevin know this, no substitute for clean air because he's got about 2/10 on the field right now.
Well, going to that point, Larry, adding another layer, you know, everybody practiced yesterday in clean air. You want a good balance on your race car, trying to get an indication to work with a crew chief over the night on where to go with the balance for this race. Nobody counted on that early caution to throw this race for a frenzy and being in traffic and everything else.
And these guys up front, the advantage that they will have if this turns into having a bunch of cautions, they'll have one more set of tires sitting in the pits, and you never know when that could be valuable.
William Byron from the pole has your Xfinity fastest lap, 167.2 miles per hour. All those cars running up in the top 5 in the opening laps.
William Byron doing William Byron things, just quietly taking care of business. I knew he was going to be dangerous when he sat on that pole. It was a huge lap yesterday, Kevin. We were watching that. He hung 2.5 tenths on them when he went out, and there was still, what, 10, 12 cars to go or so, and nobody could knock him off the pole.
In the last several years, we've seen a lot of cars dominate this race, but when you look at the finishes and things that go with those most laps led, it makes it really difficult because most of those guys didn't win the race for the last several years. So there's always a moment in this race where you have to pit, not pit, when the strategy comes into play that seems to flip this race around.
Mike, I want to add another layer to your question about when does the tires even out. I think it's a little bit deceiving right now because those that change tires are stuck back in the field. We talked about being in dirty air. Kevin Clint and I this morning had the conversation about that rear sway bar. That's where the rear sway bar helps you, as in traffic. So back in traffic, it's hard to get a read when the tires actually even out.
And there's a lot of people that will decide rear sway bar, no rear sway bar. I always liked the rear sway bar because it just had this automatic rotation, and when you get these cars all on the racetrack together, they naturally just get tighter, and having that bar always made it so that it had that rotation no matter what you did. Even if it wasn't enough, you still had something. See, that's
Hocevar's been against the wall as Logano advances. Now here's Bubba Wallace, who is the best of the cars on new tires in the running order, challenging Buescher for 8th.
Mike, remember Buescher came and got 4 fresh tires as well in that 17 car.
Yeah, I misspoke on that.
Well, we may be corrected there, Larry. Statistics here is telling us no. I'm sorry, Larry.
Yeah, I'm not so sure we didn't get bad data on that.
Yeah. Okay. Noah Gragson 23rd. Another of the cars that did not stop. Here's some audio from the 4.
There is no internet on pit road, so it's kind of a cluster down here, Nick. I'm assuming that's why my SMT is glitching up here. I assume we have no SMT, no timing and scoring, no anything right now. So I'm using my phone to look at Ford's racing, but.
Oh boy. So Regan, is this all of pit road or is it sporadic?
Well, Mike, just to report, I checked with the 11 team at Denny Hamlin, and it appears that their internet is working right now. So not sure if it's sporadic or what's going on, but evidently some teams having trouble down here.
Kevin, we were going to clear our rides out there. We were going to be good without Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we didn't need to give our data to anybody. It probably wasn't very good anyway, but that is a major disadvantage if you don't have that SMT to look at, to be able to tell your driver what's making other cars go good and yours not. And that hinders your first adjustment, pace, all those things that you can see.
No tools in a toolbox.
That's right.
And Austin Cindric's team is talking about this as well.
Showing on my computer. Fix my timing, please. I have nothing. It's a computer thing, so I have internet on myself.
Wow. Well, hopefully that gets resolved.
All right. So let's dissect that a little bit. What does that mean to these teams? You're not getting the data. Okay. Well, they're not getting what the driver's doing. So now they don't know how much fuel that he's burning, right? We know that that's probably not going to play a role in a tire race like this racetrack is. But saving your tires. I mean, the list goes on and on. Driving style, how William Byron is out front in clean air. You heard him talk about SMT. That spotter on the roof. He's watching all those guys' inputs, and the teams are too. You know by his input. Hocevar, he was in the wall earlier.
When you can.
Right rear's flat.
Right rear's flat. Let's see if that was the cause of it.
And that brings out the caution for the second time today at lap 24.
Have a flat.
Yep. More than likely, that was probably caused. Let's see how hard he hit the wall.
Oh. Yeah, so that was a second time that he hit the wall right there. So that one was much harder than the one off of turn 4. So that probably flattened that tire, Mike.
Hocevar to pit road. We're under caution again. Under caution for the second time today, Carson Hocevar, after that spin, I believe, has driven to the garage. No, he's driven around and picked up the tail of the field. William Byron, our race leader, Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe are the top 5 here. And pit road is open, and it's going to be a busy place. Jamie.
Listening to Chase Briscoe's radio, he won here in the fall, hoping to do the same today. He said on long run, they're pretty good, but he needs a little bit more for that short run to fire off. It'll be 4 tires for the 19 team. Meanwhile, the 8 of Kyle Busch, he's been happy with this race car, just wants a little bit more grip on the right rear. They're going to add some air there, 4 tires. Good stop for Kyle Busch. Regan.
The 60 of Ryan Preece running second right now is lacking just a little bit of grip. He needs side bite as well, meaning the right rear tire is sliding more than he wants to as he goes through the corner. And the 24 of your leader, William Byron, has said the balance is good. Gets a little bit too free in 3 and 4 as they run, though.
There's the race off pit road. Byron ahead of Preece, Busch, Cindric, and Briscoe. Carson Hocevar stayed out on the track. He's out there behind the pace car and J.J. Yaley. 2 caution flags early in the Goodyear 400. Saturday, catch reigning AL MVP Aaron Judge as he leads the Yankees against the Giants at 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Here's our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Since 1925, the Goodyear blimp has been inspiring fans to keep looking up and keep driving forward. And even the Goodyear blimp has a throwback graphic scheme this year. Ryan Preece is on a roll. 3 straight top 10s. He qualified on the outside of the front row, and we were given the privilege of sitting in on their pre-race team meeting.
The one thing I want to talk about today is team, right? This team has come together better than I could have ever hoped, right? And that's all because of you guys, right? Every part of us has a different job, but somehow we're all working together and going the same direction. You guys are my fine wine. You get better every stop, man. So that's the attitude we got to keep, and we got to all keep pushing that same direction. And if we do that, guys, we're going to win. Let's bring it in, guys. 1, 2, 3, team!
I love that.
Preece just pitted on this caution flag along with everybody. So, Larry, the teams that pitted at lap number 6 have already run through 2 sets of tires. What's that do to your playbook?
I'm getting a little nervous about this because they had 10 sets of stickers plus the qualifiers to run this race. And one of those sets of stickers is what they started the race on. So you think about those teams that's pitted twice, they are now down to 7 sets of stickers. So they need some long green flag runs because you can't get greedy and use them all up now.
That pretty much, yeah, that's around 38 laps.
Well, that's tough. When the caution comes out and there's any laps on the tires, you want to hope that your strategy is on par for that long run that's going to happen. The last thing that those guys that came in and pitted the first time wanted to see was another quick caution. So definitely burned a setup that they didn't get their money's worth out of.
So Michael McDowell came in 7th. He's now 13th. Chase Elliott came in 10th. He is now 23rd after pit stops.
Well, we've seen it all year. So much is affected the outcome of the race on pit road. So far today, it's been the same way.
Getting ready to restart. William Byron has led every one of 28 laps so far. And we're back to green.
See a great launch there by William Byron. Ryan Preece already up beside Kyle Busch. Outside lane definitely launched pretty good there, Clint.
Yeah, I was watching out on the, man, it gets so tight up over there on 2. Oh, we got one in the fence again.
Looked like J.J. Yaley, I believe.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Yeah, he made a pit stop for 4 tires in that 1987 Bill Elliott tribute scheme, and he's going to come slowly toward the pits. We will stay green.
Yeah, you talk about the restart and how everybody pushes the limit off of turn 2 right there, Clint. As hard as it is to pass at this particular racetrack, you have to be able to put yourself in a spot to gain positions. And when you have the opportunity to put somebody 3 wide, you got to go with it. You got to go with the run and try to gain that advantage in track position.
Bubba Wallace trying to move forward from 7th spot now. Again, battling Chris Buescher on the outside.
Briscoe around Busch.
Yep.
Down the front stretch.
Briscoe to 3rd.
Yeah, Chase.
Big win for him last year. Then the fall race, great. Put him into play. Whoa, hold on to it, Kyle.
That 2 car was right on the rear bumper of Kyle Busch and got him loose. And
look how much it slowed him down. Here comes Buescher passing around both of them.
Buescher got a 2-for-1 right there.
Yeah, the old 2-for.
Going back to that Chase Briscoe story right in front of this group. Only car to finish in the top 5 here. And obviously, this is a racetrack that he enjoys and is very good at with getting to victory lane here in the 2nd race here in the Southern 500 here last year. So a team that is notoriously really good on these low grip racetracks. With Joe Gibbs, we've seen Martin Truex run so good in this car, and especially at this racetrack.
And we said yesterday, if you were watching practice on Prime, he should be in your fantasy league for today. Now here's Kyle Busch, and a look from the Cheddar's onboard cam on his number 8.
Yeah, he had to lift just a little bit coming down the hill right there. He's probably going to just have to make a correction. And the 2 car was right on his rear bumper, so it just magnified that looseness as he came down the hill off of turn 2.
hit that bump. Car unloaded off of the bump.
That 2 car is my runner-up for best throwback scheme. You think of Dale Earnhardt, 79 and 80, driving for Rod Osterlund, that little team out of California in 80, with a young 19-year-old crew chief, Doug Richard, and Earnhardt drives that Mike Curb-sponsored car to the championship. Now, that's a memory.
I love it. It was the first one I noticed yesterday, looking down on the grid. They were all waiting to go out for practice, and I said, that's my winner right there.
So who is your winner, Mike? You say that's P2.
I know who it is.
That's number 2.
At night.
We'll see. Then there's a look at Earnhardt in that Chevy Monte Carlo, the Mike Curb Warner Hodgson Chevrolet.
Who's your favorite?
We'll see it.
Oh,
what he's saying is he has a plan, Clint. He's got a plan how this is all going to roll out.
Oh, cagey veteran. Got him a plan.
And you see right there,
Larry, what are the leaders talking about?
Yeah, we went back racing at an interesting number of laps to go in this stage. 61 laps to go. That's a long way to run on a set of tires. Rudy Fugel, William Byron's crew chief's already talking to him about that, saying there probably is going to be some teams that split that number in half, 30 laps apiece. Once again, though, using up more sets of sticker tires. That's going to be a slippery slope.
Well, now here's Chase Briscoe, who had passed Chris Buescher and now falls back into Buescher's clutches. Is Briscoe maybe pedaling it a little bit here?
Well, we were bragging on Briscoe, but let me brag on Buescher as well. He knows how to get around this place. Very good at Darlington. Heartbreaker last year for him. I wouldn't mind seeing him going to victory lane.
Jamie?
Yeah, remember, Clint, that race, he had such a solid car all the way to the end. He got together with Reddick, and I talked to him about that, and he said, I can't forget it. He said that day we lost 30-something points. We ended up missing the playoffs by 6 points. He said it still hurts. Nothing would help that than getting back to victory lane, doing it here at Darlington. Right now, though, guys, his car is good. They took a big swing in it after practice because they were way off, but they're happy with it. There's that contact right there, Mike, and that's afterwards they had words, and he pointed. He walked over to Reddick right there. He pointed out, he said, you have a win sticker. I don't, and it's different.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. Heartbreaker for him. He had every right to be, and Reddick knew it. He had every right to be frustrated. But hey, RFK, look at the car right in front of him as well. Priest running second and third.
Yeah, and Ryan Priest has been the car that's been he's kind of been at the top of the heap for RFK Racing, but Buescher, he's just been solid. Brad Keselowski 11th. We know that this is one of his better racetracks, so.
Yeah, he won that race.
That's right.
39 of 90 laps in stage 1 complete. William Byron leads all drivers with 7 races led early in this season. A lot for the fans to do here. Hang out, look at some of the old vintage race cars. Some old Cup cars are here, some not so old Cup cars. And a lot of the fans are dressed in throwback apparel too. Walking through the garage, saw a Sterling Marlin crew shirt, saw a Jimmy Spencer crew shirt. You know, fans love to show their colors, both new and old. That's part of the fun of Throwback Weekend at Darlington.
Well, this throwback right here was fast when it was Jeff Gordon's car, and it's fast again today when it's William Byron's car.
Jeff Gordon's final race. That silver car with the Exalta flames on it was a Chevy SS then. It's a Camaro now.
I definitely fanned out that day. Took a picture by myself, kneeled down next to the old 24 car before Homestead.
There's my man.
Is he awake?
Oh, yeah. Friday and Saturday, he was inaugurating the new 10/10 road course at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Marcus Smith and Rick Hendrick's project. Jeff has a lot of laps there. No surprise that he would win the Pro-Am celebrity race there on Friday. He's still got it.
He's looking for his Wi-Fi, Kip.
Here are your Toyota top performers. Chase Briscoe, who got up to third, is now settled in fourth. Bubba Wallace to seventh. Ty Gibbs eighth. Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin. One Toyota that's not on that list is Christopher Bell, going the wrong way since the restart. He has dropped 10 spots to 27th.
Oh, got a little, looked like he just barely touched the wall right there.
Sounded like he hit the wall.
And as we get to this point of the run, you know, let's see, we put it on 20, so we're 22 laps into this run right here. This is when the car really starts taking a swing, and you start to see whose car is handling good. We've heard a lot of them talk about tight. We heard Chase Briscoe talk about his car being loose in practice yesterday. Regardless of what your condition is, you better take care of your car, because if it's tight, it's probably going to get tighter, and you're also going to start to slide the back, because that right rear tire is not going to be happy as you run. So you could have two conditions that you're dealing with, and the next thing you know, you're just walking this car all the way through the corner in a controlled slide as the tires wear out.
Yeah, I asked Kyle Larson as he went off the our pre-race earlier what to expect today. He said the cars, everybody seemed like the balance was tight, but eventually it'd wear that right rear tire out and get loose at the end of a run.
Let's have a look here. Did Denny Hamlin get a piece of the wall, or did he just get close?
Oh, yeah, he just flat-sided it right there. So going into turn 3, and we talk about this, the cars are different every single lap, and you'll get to a point where, like I said, it'll jump the fence, and all of a sudden the whole car will just start to lose grip, and you'll drive into turn 3, and you want to time that off the brake and throttle back up the hill, but sometimes you just get in there a little bit too far, or the car just gets a little bit loose, and you have to modulate the brake pressure a little bit so you carry a little bit more speed. The next thing you know, as you have to modulate that brake and can't slow the car down enough because it's loose, it'll just slide up the racetrack and bang off the fence like that. And luckily it banged off the fence pretty square right there.
So Hamlin holding station in 12th, and right behind him Brad Keselowski, who has picked up 2 spots since the restart. Regan?
Mike, that's right. He's been steadily moving forward as the race has gone on so far early today. Told me this morning he felt very good about that 6 car in terms of what it could do in the long runs. Very similar to what it did last year here when he won the race. But take a listen onto his radio to something right here.
Got a big rush to him here. Bumper clear for now. Still coming back to you. Coming back to you. Still going to hit your quarter here. Quarter. Still quarter. Back to your door even.
That is not the voice that Brad is accustomed to hearing. Normally, spotter TJ Majors would be up there talking to him. That is actually Brad's brother, Brian Keselowski, spotting for him today. TJ Majors, under the weather, is not at the racetrack right now. So what do? You call in your brother, who has helped him out before. He's up there, a little brotherly love on the radio right now.
Terrific.
Well, yeah, we hope TJ's feeling better. It must be pretty bad. That's a pretty tough little guy right there that spots for Brad normally, but pretty neat story to see his brother spotting up on the roof.
Sure is. Now, Christopher Bell, 2 laps ago, gave up a spot to Daniel Suarez, and now he's falling into the clutches of Shane Van Gisbergen as Bell continues to drop back. He's lost 11 since the restart.
Definitely something that is not right with that car, and it just does not take much to be off here. when you have the guy that's leading the race with clean air, that's running really fast lap times, and then you have second, third, and fourth to clean air, and then it starts to bunch up. But now Christopher Bell is he's in a bad spot, struggling, and we're going green for a long run right here, and that's the worst time to have that happen.
Makes it worse even yet.
Well, it's a great looking car. Bell's inspiration, his mentor, was sprint car racer Rick Ferkel, who ran the Zero. So the Zero's in quotes on Bell's car, and the roof is silver to imitate the sprint car wing. It's a great throwback from DeWalt for Christopher Bell this weekend.
Now those guys were tough.
You bet. The original Outlaws. Jamie.
Yeah, just to update the 20th, Christopher Bell, who has dropped back. He's in 28th right now. I talked to his crew chief, Adam Stevens, this morning, and I said, what was the deal in practice? He said, we were tight and slow, both things. He said, we've adjusted. We took a big swing at it. We're not really sure what we have. So once they hit the track, they're not really happy with what they have. They've been trying to adjust on it, but you see, guys, he's not going anywhere.
Thanks, Jamie. Boy, we've gone from get all you can get mode to maybe fuel conservation mode right here, and tire conservation mode.
Yeah, I'd say it's more tire conservation mode, because in practice they ran high 30s, mid 30s on tires, and if they have to run this whole run, I mean, these things are going to be out of control.
Yeah, I think everybody is thinking, do not split this stage. Let's try to go to lap 90, because if you're going to split it, you'd be pitting right now. But I'm listening to the radios. About every crew chief is telling the driver, take care of that right rear tire. Just be smooth with the throttle, smooth with everything getting in and getting off the corner.
Well, that makes perfect sense, Larry, because you've already used up the tires that you were going to put on if you split this stage in half and stopped under green. And Ryan Blaney's one of the few cars, though, that continues to inch forward.
Well, typically this car is good on a long run. It's typically like that at a number of the racetracks that we go to. I can tell you this, though, you see him drive low on the racetrack, and it makes it really difficult for it to save the tires when you're low on the track. So what do we have happen here?
Keselowski, Hamlin.
Yeah, I think that's just a case that I think the 11 checked up to not get too close to the 54, and Brad was in the corner a little bit further. I don't think there was anything intentional there. I think it's just a timing thing. Brad was trying to drive in hard to get to the bottom of the racetrack and just mistimed the distance.
Well, he definitely lifted early, because Brad drove it off in the corner 3 car lengths deeper as soon as he got underneath of him, so caught him off guard.
Looking back now from the Ford Performance Cam on board Keselowski at Hamlin. They are 11th and 12th right now. This is the most laps William Byron has ever led at Darlington. He's been out front for 61 so far. It's Throwback Sunday, the Goodyear 400. Week 2 of the UFL caps off next as the San Antonio Brahmas take on the St. Louis Battlehawks right here on FS1. Here at Darlington, South Carolina, 66 of 90 laps in stage 1 have been completed. We've had 2 caution flags. William Byron has led every lap in his Hendrick Chevrolet. Tribute to Jeff Gordon, who is up on the pit box today. Now behind him, 5 seconds behind him, is Ryan Preece, who started on the outside of the front row in his Roush Fenway Keselowski Ford. Preece had 19 laps run in the top 10 here in his whole career before today in 10 prior starts. But for 67 laps, he's been in the top 4 all day.
Well, this is a new Ryan Preece at Roush Fenway Racing. So here's his teammate Chris Buescher. We know that he's been solid. We've talked about his performance here in the past and putting in another one today.
Ryan Blaney in 4th for Team Penske. Blaney restarted 14th. He's gained 4 spots. He is the biggest mover forward since the last caution flag.
And believe it or not, Mike, Ryan Blaney has never finished in the top 5 at Darlington.
We're going to fix that today, Kev.
Bubba Wallace restarted 7th. He's up to 5th in his Toyota. His teammate at 23:11, Tyler Reddick, just about a second and a half behind him after restarting 11th. Reddick up to 6th as he laps past Cody Ware.
Been a great start to the season for Bubba Wallace. New crew chief.
So Reddick
really
6th.
Good results.
Kyle Busch next in line, 7th place. Now he restarted 2nd and has drifted back quite a bit.
I think a lot of these guys are starting to drift back quite a bit, Kevin. Seeing a lot of guys in trouble.
Yeah, and the worst thing that they want to hear is there's 20 laps more to go. You've kind of made your bet at this point as to what your strategy is going to be. And if you're in trouble, your only goal right now is to not get lapped. Because that switch has flipped, and the cars that are bad are really starting to stick out.
Now Zane Smith has done a good job here. Restarted 10th. He is running 8th for front row in that 1970s Long John Silver paint scheme. That's quite a throwback. And there's Brad. We've talked a lot about him. He restarted 15th. He's in 9th place.
Well, Brad needs something good to happen. I think that there have been some moments of bright spots as we went through the speedways. Hadn't qualified real well every week, but we see him running well today.
I think he was excited to come to this racetrack. Obviously, his big win last year, but this is a track where he can get the ship pointed back in the right direction for sure. It's doing that.
Austin Cindric conserving right now, restarted 5th. He's back to 10th. Now, something may be wrong here with the 19. Over the last lap, Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, Austin Dillon all went past the 19 of Briscoe, who's just cruising in the top groove and continues to lose pace here.
Well, and that's what happens here, Mike, when you have a car that just shuts off. And with these next-gen cars, a lot of times when the rear tires go, there's just nothing that you can do other than slow down in order to keep the car going straight at this track.
There's Todd Gilliland going by, and Gragson, and very quickly Josh Berry in the Wood Brothers car taking advantage of the 19.
He's in trouble with 17
Yep.
laps to go. That's big time off the pace.
Well, they catch the 2 of Cindric. And that's Kyle Busch going to the bottom and Denny Hamlin closing in.
I mean, I can see 4 or 5 cars on this racetrack, Kevin, that just absolutely look like they're crawling around.
17 more laps in this stage.
Look, I mean, Briscoe, they're just keep stacking up behind him. Cindric is the same way.
Jamie?
You know, this team is just trying to learn exactly what Chase Briscoe needs to go fast at a place, but these cars are so different for him. James Small, his crew chief, told me they had a great baseline set up for Martin Truex Jr. They always ran well here with them, but they weren't sure exactly. Well, the start of this race, good on the long run, wanted to be freed up a little bit to fire off better, so they adjusted on the last stop. Now he's just too free, guys, and giving up a lot of track position.
Well, at this part in the stage, not many comers and a lot of goers. Ty Gibbs restarted 9th and is now back to, it was 26th a moment ago when I started that thought. Now it's 20th.
Yeah, 29th actually there, Mike.
Right.
Yeah, he's he's definitely fallen off the pace, and we see that Briscoe car starting to do the same thing. So really, really difficult portion of the run when you get this far in and your car is not handling well and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
All right, we're going to take you side by side with 15 laps to go here in stage 1 at Darlington. Well, as you've seen at home with 10 to go in the stage, a couple of Joe Gibbs cars trying to stay on the lead lap. Chase Briscoe and Christopher Bell, but here comes Byron.
Well, they better hurry up. Byron, that is, and get around these cars, make quick time of them, because Priest and Buescher are catching him fast.
And that's always the tough part here at Darlington. These cars of the 19 and 77, 77's 2 laps down. He doesn't want to stay in that spot, but
he is pinned in. That's a 34.23 on him, 32-second 87, 32.87, 32.53 on Priest and Buescher, coming fast.
And you know how this can be, Clint. When you're that leader, you get raced harder than they'll race the second, third, fourth place cars trying to stay on that.
Whoa! There it is.
Hocevar is around after contact. Riley Herbst involved there, and we are under caution at lap 83.
Destroyed. No steering.
Right.
Get back to pit road.
Carson Hocevar, who spun at lap 24 to bring out the second caution of the day, he couldn't go another lap down. He had no chance for a free pass. So what's wrong with that now?
Both tires are flat. I don't think it's as hurt as bad as he thinks. Both front tires flat.
Okay. But he had to run the leader as hard as he could, because being 2 laps down, had no chance for the free pass, had to try to not lose another lap there when things got just too close.
Yeah, and the 24 came up the racetrack right there, and the 35 was coming on the outside of the 77 and just ran out of room. Really easy to do at this track.
And look at Priest and Buescher right behind him. I mean, they were catching him. It was going to be a matter of a lap. They were going to be on him. That Byron, that is, your leader.
Well, that was quite a break for Bell and Briscoe, who were in danger of going a lap down. Looks like Ricky Stenhouse may be the free pass car here.
close as it gets for your leader, Byron. That was...
No, the free pass car would have been Herbst, but since he was involved, there will be no free pass.
Well, this has been an odd race right here, guys. This thing has had not much flow. We've seen one long run right there with a lot of cars really tank.
Well, 3 cautions already. We've only had 1 caution in stage 1 in the 3 prior races combined here. 7 laps to go in the stage. We'll probably get back to green before this stage ends.
How's this going to work out, Larry?
Yeah, everybody's got to come. But here's what's going to be interesting. We're going to go back racing to Mike Point before the stage end. They're going to be guys at the front that's racing for this stage win, for these stage points. If I'm way back in the pack, I'm coming to get my 4 tires and doing exactly what Carson Hocevar did at Miami. I'm going to ride around real nice and easy and then stay out at the stage end.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, and that's what makes these stages so interesting is the guys in the front, I mean, they want the points, and you gotta save the tires, and the guys at the back half of the field can do that strategy, but at some point the guys in the front are going to want the points if they can get them.
I was so impressed with that late run speed out of the RFK cars, all 3 of them. Look, Keselowski come all the way from, I think, 13th up there to the top 7. Both 2311 cars, Reddick and Wallace are fast. RFK back on it again.
So now, do you want stage points? Or as Larry said, do you want to roll around to the end of the stage? What do you want to do here?
Well, I definitely want my tires.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want a good pit stop and get me back out front of that clean air that I had if I'm William Byron.
And it is, I can't even explain to you how much of a handful these cars are deep into the run like that. That is, as a driver, you just want to get out.
All right, pit road's open this time. And here come the lead lap cars. Jamie?
For Ryan Blaney, it has been 5 long races that he has not finished inside the top 10. They just wanted to come in here and have a solid day, and so far they have accomplished that. Overall, he says the balance is better. Wants to be just a hair tighter, so they'll make a small air pressure adjustment. 4 tires for the 12 machine and the 17 of Chris Buescher. This car is much better than it was in practice. The car just gets better the longer they run. 4 tires, no changes, Regan.
Ryan Preece in the 60 car on the bottom right of your screen. Very good right now. Just needs the right rear to stick a little bit longer on the long runs. In the 24, William Byron said the balance is good. It was actually better than the first run of the race. A little bit tighter, which he liked.
From pit stall number 1, Byron handily wins the race off pit road from Preece, and Bubba Wallace with a great stop. The Goodyear 400 at Darlington. More Darlington stripes and a 3rd caution flag here.
Ready, go, go, go.
When you think of Darlington, it's similar to Homestead. You got to rip the fence.
Darlington stripes are no joke here. You're gonna get a stripe or two, and you just have to manage your car. You can only get so many. If you do get a Darlington stripe off a turn 2, it generally ruins your day. But you know, eventually, when it comes down to crunch time, that last run of the race, you're gonna have to put it all out there.
That's what Darlington's all about, and the Darlington stripe.
Stripe count up to 15 today so far, but it's early. You see Cole Custer restarting back in row number 7. He took only 2 tires to get through these final couple of laps of stage 1. Interesting strategy. Ross Chastain went from 9th to 20th on that stop. Here's the Hunt Brothers Pizza Cam for Joey Logano. And his number 22, they will fire off 10th. Austin Dillon with the Brestree onboard camera and his Richard Childress number 3. They will go 14th on this restart. And there's Eric Jones in the Kings number 43. Richard Petty will join us along with Kyle Petty in stage number 2. That's the Advent Health Cam. And the Weather Tech Cam for Shane Van Gisbergen will restart 24th. 35 cars on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar is 3 laps down as we go back to green to complete stage 1.
Go, Cat, go. 3 to go, 2 to go. Here we go.
Yeah, and if you're not in the top 10, you try to just take care of your car and your tires right here. If you're in the top 10, you want to get some points. But these moments, as you see it very wide there in the middle of the screen.
Those 2 white cars side by side. That's where 10th place is. That's the final stage point right there. And up front, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Almost 3 abreast. 1 to go in stage 1.
Got a battle for 2nd going on. Priest on the inside, Wallace on the outside. Nobody's lifted yet.
Three wide. Here we go. Byron will win the stage. He's led every lap so far. 2nd to Bubba Wallace, 3rd to Ryan Preece, and 4th to Chris Buescher. Tyler Reddick 5th. And Byron is the first driver since the advent of stage racing to lead every single lap of stage 1 at Darlington. Welcome back to the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway. We're at the end of stage 1. William Byron has led every single lap so far. Now here are your pit crew rankings coming in to Darlington with Bubba Wallace's 23-11 team on top. Jamie?
Well, Mike, I interviewed Michael Jordan, the co-owner of 2311 in our race day show, and he specifically mentioned Bubba Wallace's pit crew and how great of a job they're doing this year. They've been ranked #1 since the Homestead race. So let's meet Team 23.
Austin Dickey, front tire changer. My wife and I published a book, A Water Lily Among Wildflowers.
Adam Hartman, rear tire changer. 2-time Southeast Region Division 6 double red shirt freshman player of the day.
Joe Crossan, tire carrier, husband to Monica, dad to JoJo, Tucker, and Miles.
Nathan Ricketts, Jackman. I'm a certified welder by trade. Josh Peck, fueler. Just want to give a shout out to my amazing wife, Felicia, 2 awesome kids, Jaden and Jackson.
Charles DeNike, the crew chief, Freddie Kraft, the spotter, and there's that pit crew enjoying our video tribute to the leading pit crew in the Cup Series right now. Michael Jordan looking on as his 3 teams perform here at Darlington.
Well, that 23 team and specifically right there, they've done a great job this year. You see how much fun those team guys are having. You hear how low-key and confident Bubba Wallace is. Great to see.
And that team has gained 6 positions on pit road on the stops so far today. Getting the job done. The AMR safety crew at work there. A little bit of debris up on the racetrack that they will pick up. And we'll see what happens since everybody, well, almost everybody was on pit road at lap 85. There were 6 cars that on the restart just rolled around. One of them, Eric Jones, you needed an hourglass to time him. He ran about 38 seconds on that last lap trying to keep the goodie in those tires. So those drivers were Stenhouse, Herbst, Austin Hill, Nemechek, Gibbs, and Cody Ware. Did not stop, just kind of rolled around to finish things out. And of course, Eric Jones, who did get tires along with Ty Dillon, but they just rolled around slow to finish out the stage. Interesting strategy. Got about 12 takers from the second half of the field, including Cole Custer, who got 2 tires the last time on pit road. William Byron has led it all so far in Darlington.
just across from the guys in their booth at what was an old open-air press box. Remember, this place is 75 years old. Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers with some fans enjoying the race from this point of view. And actually, with the cloud cover, it's cooled off a bit. I know not a lot of the drivers complaining about the heat like we had earlier, but talk about it's not nearly as hot as it was back in 1983 here. It was really hot.
Yeah, just how hot was it?
I'm glad you asked. It was so hot that Bobby Allison cut a hole in his roof to cool off, and it later taped. He won the race. That year he won the championship. Drivers complained, but drivers have a different way of cooling off now. But right now we're keeping an eye on the hot drivers, William Byron, and he's got flames on the car. He's a lot hotter than that.
Yeah, Byron's been on a roll here. I'll tell you, though, earlier today, who couldn't handle the heat is the two softies that we have in the booth, Clint and Kevin. We gave them this opportunity to go for a ride in a couple of Wood Brother cars. And those two guys, they ran 2 laps, Chris. It looked like they had jumped in a pool. It's a really sad shape that booth's in right now.
I think they'll be in better shape when they finish this race. Back to Mike and the guys who were in the car back in the booth. We always enjoyed your years in the cars, by the way, but you're just as good in the booth.
Thanks, Chris. I think you really left us hanging. But here we go with Richard and Kyle Petty, and how many great moments they have enjoyed here at Darlington Raceway. A couple of storied careers. Richard, of course, included 200 victories. Pass that on to Kyle Petty, who's been behind the wheel since the age of 18, had a great career in Cup of his own. King, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here, man.
What a place this has been for you. I know good memories, not all good memories, but some really great ones, right?
Well, we won 2 or 3 races here, but it was always one of my favorite tracks, really, because it was so much different. You know, used to when the 1 and 2 corner down here was a 1-groove track. That's where the Darlington Stripe came from. It's just Darlington Wreck now when they run into these wrecks. Thank you. Know, they talking about hot. They ought to come down here in the 50s and 60s. No air conditioning, no nothing. And, you know, we had some Yankees come down here. And
that's people from up north, for people that don't know.
Yeah. Anyhow,
just want to get it right.
And everybody was doing this. They thought, look at this friendly crowd. They're trying to get the gnats away. That's
that's swatting flies. Is it true you used to put like a 4x4 or a railroad tie inside the car to keep it from all getting busted in from the fence?
I think we might have tried that a time or two, and then we just finally just made some roll bars, put around there. So, you know, it was one of those deals where 1 and 2 corner, you're going to run the wall no matter what. So you just went ahead and made arrangements for it.
Kyle, when you look at this racetrack, what sticks out to you from what they do today to what we did for so many years? Because the track is so similar to what you guys did, but the speed is different.
Speed is different. That's crazy. When they came here the first time, when my granddad come here, they run 80 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, and they'd run 170 or 80 miles an hour. It seems like. So there's just no room. There's no room for error. We talk about give and take, but you can't give enough at this place. And if you take too much, then we're back into 3 and 4 in the Darlington Stripe.
All right, well, stay with us. We're going to reminisce a bit, but right now we're ready to restart for Stage 2 with William Byron and Ryan Preece up on the front row once again. Bubba Wallace around the outside of Preece for second spot. Reddick in fourth.
We see it checked up right there, middle of the screen. Kyle Busch on the bottom right there, 3 wide. Looks like Austin Dillon and Noah Gregson there got stacked up, and Kyle went shooting by on the bottom off of 2.
Ahead of them, Cindric and Logano were part of a 3-wide battle coming off turn 4. It's a Cale Yarborough inspired paint scheme for Logano. Cale had such success here at his home track.
Denny, I don't know, we saw him hit the wall. I don't know if that caused damage or not, Kevin, but since that first off cycle, when he got off cycle a little bit and lost that track position, that's a car that never was able to get it back.
Yeah, and we've seen all of those Gibbs cars have a little bit of a tough time today getting the handle on the racetrack. We've seen the 20 and the 19 fall all the way to the back, battled themselves to stay on the lead lap. Ty Gibbs got lapped there and took the wave around and was able to get himself back on the lead lap.
I watched Bell's team put some rounds in that right rear, freeing that car up. Tells me he was too tight out there. Maybe the adjustments will help.
We're about to have a new leader. Bubba Wallace is flying. Catching William Byron here, getting up into his draft about 5 car lengths, nose to tail, but Wallace is really wrapping turns 1 and 2 and gaining ground.
Yeah, and in order to see which cars are really going to handle good, we haven't seen anybody challenge William Byron all day. Bubba Wallace, his pit crew, and his car's running good, but his pit crew's done a great job today getting them track position. But his car was really good on the long run, and William Byron had a little bit of trouble getting through traffic there at the end. But getting to these cars is when these cars get tight and you start to lose the front end. So it makes it difficult until the tires really fall off.
It seems like somewhere around 35, 40 laps on these tires, and man, some of them babies flipped the switch. But to your point, Wallace and the other 2311 car, Reddick, and them RFK cars ran that leader down. Do not forget that. Very strong on a long run.
All right, Eric Jones, we mentioned, rolled around to save those tires. And here he is in the Advent Health number 43, the Check It for Andretti scheme. And Richard, the Petty Blue and the STP Red, you know, now it looks really great. But when that first happened, how'd that look together?
Well, we had to get used to it, okay? One thing about the colors, no matter where that car's at, in the big crowd or whatever, you can see it. It stands out like neon lights. So we always like those colors together.
Was Andy Granatelli really that tough to deal with?
He was to begin with. When we sat down and talked to him to begin with, he thought he was going to be tough, but he'd never run up against a Petty crowd.
Yeah.
So.
It was a negotiating point. We'll give you the car Petty Blue for one color, but you can put your orange on it for a bigger number.
Oh, okay.
Kyle, Throwback Weekend always brings out these paint schemes. You've watched it. You've lived it your whole life. I mean, a throwback life, right? And what's your favorite out here this weekend?
And listen, the Pearson or the Wood brothers always bring their A game. They are hands down the team, no matter what they come with, whether it's something Pearson did, whether it's just Jim Clark color scheme. They just come with uniforms. They come all the way through. They live for this weekend. So for me, it's hands down. In their 75th year, congratulations to those guys. Being here with that car.
Yeah, that's my winner right there. British Racing Green, Lotus Yellow. They had to get approval from the Chapman family that owned Lotus to duplicate the Jim Clark Indy winner from 1965, which was pitted by Leonard Wood and his group. And Leonard's been telling stories all week. He said when he first met with Colin Chapman and Lotus, somebody said, I sure hope those Virginians move quicker than they talk.
Richard, did you ever drive an Indy car?
No, I went up there one time and one of Ford's cars, and so I was going to get in the car, and Ford said, well, you got to take them boots off. Here's a size 7 shoe. Okay, you got to put that. That's how close the clutch and the brakes and everything. I said, forget it. You know, I made sure.
I can't wear my boots. I ain't driving.
Yeah, right, but I made sure there wasn't a motor in the car.
And his boots are 12. So just want to go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
So it's a half size for him.
Yeah, 12 wasn't going to fit into a 7.
Tyler Reddick now at second, 0.6 of a second behind William Byron. Bubba Wallace to third, Ryan Preece fourth, Ryan Blaney in fifth.
And as the boss, that's always a good feeling when you see both of your cars running good. That's when you know you've got your organization put together and the details and dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And we've seen a massive change out of Bubba Wallace and just the way that he approaches everything this year. Tyler Reddick, you know, we thought that he would be in contention today. We've thought that a few times this year as we've gone through some of these races. Hasn't really had the speed, but today he definitely has the speed.
Now, Kyle Petty's lost his voice because he's been up at the 10/10 track all weekend up in Charlotte, telling stories nonstop to the delight of everybody. Imagine that. But what's your favorite Darlington memory?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I've been coming here forever. You know, and we talked about it before. My dad came here when he was 13 for the first time. I've been coming down here since the early 60s. There's so much history at this place. There's places we race where you walk in and you feel the history of the place. You feel the ghost of the drivers that came before you, whether it was Fireball Roberts or Curtis Turner or Richard Petty or David Pearson or Dale Earnhardt Sr. and those guys, you know, so there's just so much history. And I think that's what makes this place special. So for me, I don't think there's ever been a bad memory. I never ran good here. Remember, I famously said they should fill this place up and have stadium bass fishing in this place.
We can't do that.
That's how much I loved it. But, you know, it's a place that you look forward to coming.
All right. Yeah, Minnow Pond. Forget the Minnow Pond. Fill the whole place with water and let's have fishing tournaments. That was Kyle Petty's line. William Byron, the only Chevrolet in the top 10. A.J. Allmendinger is 11th, the next one, but Byron has led every lap so far here. But for how long? Tyler Reddick has closed it right up.
We saw this at the tail end of that first run. Kevin, it is easy to get complacent, leading this whole race in dominant fashion, never having anybody contest you. No changes, no changes, don't change anything. That car in his mirror is getting bigger.
Now right behind Byron Chevrolet and those 2 Toyotas are 7 Fords. The whole rest of the top 10 are blue ovals. Edsel Ford is here.
And you see Ryan Blaney on the inside of Ryan Preece right there. You see the flames come out of the pipe. Ryan just concedes that position right there into turn 1. And as we've talked about so many times, the longer they run, usually the closer to the front that 12 car gets.
Yep.
112 laps to go. 22 of the 95 laps in stage 2 are completed, all under green. And once again, yes, William Byron has led every single lap so far. After the gap holding steady for about 8 laps, Tyler Reddick has renewed his pursuit of William Byron and the lead, running a line that's mostly lower than Byron's.
Well, you have to go where they're not in order to get some air on the front of that car to be able to get the car to handle like you need to. So you got to have options getting in the corner right here. You can run right in behind him. If you're going to do that, you got to back up, run to him in the center of the corner so you don't lose the front of the car on the entry, or you go to the bottom or the middle to do something different.
I think you have to be careful though. As you get in that wake in that car, you're going to start using your tires more. I heard you say move it around, going where he's not. That's going to be harder on your tires. I want to wait until the opportunity presents itself. That opportunity would be a lap car.
All right, things have stabilized for the moment. Jamie.
Meanwhile, while William Byron continues to lead every lap, his teammate Kyle Larson, complete opposite, wrecked hard on lap number 4. He has been in the garage for about an hour and 15 minutes. This is his crew chief, his team. They have completely rebuilt the front end of this race car. Meanwhile, the driver, he's been in the car with the window net up, watching the race on his phone. Their full intentions are to get back out there.
That's a racer for you.
Yep. Yep, there is no more damaged vehicle policy clock when cars are in the garage. They can work on them and return the race like we used to do.
Yeah, well, you can return to the race, but you have a few laps to run minimum speed. That's why they're taking so much time on that car to try to get it correct, so that when it goes on the racetrack, Kyle can be competitive in order to stay out there.
Speaking of get it correct, I'm glad that they corrected that rule. I like that the fact that you can go back out there with this car. It's more bolt-on pieces. There's pieces you can fix. Back in the day, Kyle, you used to weld it back. Yeah, I remember watching them weld a spring in a bucket. Then that wouldn't work, so they just welded the bucket. They welded a wrench in the bucket. We went back out there and I'm like, you sure that's going to work, boy?
Listen, you cut up 55-gallon drums and use the metal out of it to put on your car. Anything you could do to get back out there and score some points. All you needed sometimes was 1 or 2 laps to pick up 4 or 5 positions. Right. Those 4 or 5 positions at that time in this sport were huge.
Well, they're even more big now. We've watched playoffs be missed by a point.
And it's also a great team building experience.
Oh, yeah.
Not only for the guy that has to sit in the car that wrecked it, but for those guys to show him that they're going to fix the car and work together to if you make up one spot throughout the day, that makes that work pay off.
There's Richards, number 43, currently in 14th spot. The RFK cars are now 4th, 5th, and 6th behind Reddick and Blaney. Byron continues to lead this race, the most any driver has ever led from the start of any Darlington race. Richard, I want to go back to 1970 for a second, not because this is such a huge crash, but because of what came afterward when you flipped down what was then the front straightaway here at Darlington into the wall in your Plymouth, and boy,
knocked the wall down.
Yeah, and more than that, there's Richard hanging out the left side of the car. Fortunately, not badly injured, but what that led to, what did your mom do after that happened?
Well, I think she made us a winter net, okay? And I think we'd run winter nets at California, Riverside. But that wasn't mandatory anywhere else. And once we did that, then Mother said, this is going to work. So then NASCAR adapted the winter net, and now every racing organization in the world, I guess, run winter nets. But it took something like that spectacular, I guess, to really sink in for the safety feature.
I heard she took a tennis net and then put a hem on it and put it all together. Is that true?
No, we had some stuff that was fireproof.
Yeah, the Nomex.
The Nomex had just come out. I think 69 the Nomex come out. So she said they need to be fireproof. So she made it, cut the things and made them and sewed them up herself. So that's it.
Yeah, you remember when Nomex came out?
Yes.
You couldn't dye it. It was that yellow-looking color.
Yellowish, whitish.
Yeah, it was that. So if you look at the one in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, that's the one she made.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's in the Hall of Fame, which is pretty cool to have my dad, my granddad, and my grandmother in the Hall of Fame.
Wonderful.
Ryan Blaney is putting some lap times down. Run these first 2 cars down. Looking to the inside of Reddick. It's 12 cars flying, guys.
Yeah, down there on the apron, following that line around, getting out of the wake of that 45 car, and that's a line that I love to run on that hash mark down on that apron, but it is hard on the tires if you do it a long time.
Larry, we're coming up on halfway in this stage. What do you look?
Yeah, Mike, this is a 95-lap stage. We went back racing with 87 laps to go. If you split it down the middle, you'll run to lap 140. Now, we know Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, they're notorious for splitting it right in half. But I think once we cross here at about 4 to 5 laps, you'll see some of them start to come early. At this track, once 1 or 2 hits, you better not be far behind.
It may happen as they're catching these lap cars too. I talked about that earlier, being an opportunity for these guys to run that leader down, but I'm seeing Reddick falling back from the leader Byron as Blaney catches Reddick. Got a new problem at hand.
Denny Hamlin's Toyota Cam showing him currently in 18th place, 4th among the Toyotas behind Reddick, Wallace, and Jones. Bubba Wallace has fallen to 8th, restarted 2nd. Tyler Reddick up to 2nd after restarting 4th. Regan
Well, Mike, just to update, Bubba Wallace losing a couple positions right here since that restart, as you mentioned. I just had to listen closely to his radio. Most guys, or many guys, getting loose at this stage of the run, but Bubba is actually asking for help with a little bit of tight on exit. Has asked that a couple times now, said that the biggest issue I've got, I can't finish the corner because I lose the nose. So maybe on a day when so many cars are very, very loose right now, not a bad thing to have to adjust for a little bit tight.
Yeah, and when you run up near the wall like that, as we see Ryan Blaney's on pit road.
Just like third place.
Yeah, just like you talked about, Clint, just getting in one lap before. That'll most likely, as long as everything goes well on pit road, allow him to leapfrog Tyler Reddick.
Well, and the other reason I like that is we were starting to catch these lap cars. It was going to slow the pace down anyway. See your leader one more lap with Byron. It won't be long before you see that car on
Here comes Reddick. Kyle Busch is in. A lot of the leaders starting to make their way to pit road under green. First green flag stops we've had today. Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece on pit road, Zane Smith, there's Michael McDowell, Riley Herbst. Larry, if you're the leader and people are getting new tires, how long do you dare stay out there?
I think they've got to come right away, but as I said, you get some drivers, and again, Hamlin and Keselowski are notorious for taking advantage of those fresh tires on the second run and running it right to the halfway point.
Yeah, if he pits right now, he's not going to be the leader anymore.
Here's Keselowski to the pit lane along with Bubba Wallace. A.J. Allmendinger's in, Austin Cindric, Noah Gragson. Cole Custer is in. Keselowski done. Gragson finished. There's Justin Haley headed out. So the first of the drivers that's been in. Well, there's Ross Chastain now on pit road, lap 133.
See Kyle Busch in right there, and as we watch William Byron continue to lead this race and stay out, we assume that he's going to split this stage in half. We saw a lot of this happen at Homestead, and oh, Brad Keselowski around halfway anyway.
Keep rolling, keep rolling.
No caution.
Over here off of 4, I don't know, possibly, I think he missed pit road.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. Caution
Four tires.
does not wave.
He's got a right rear flat.
Oh, yes.
Toe link's bent.
He just had come off pit road. He just had left pit road.
Here's a look at it. Whoa, Zane Smith lucky to get by.
Well, obviously the tire's down. The other thing that I see is damage on that right rear. Hard to tell when that happened.
Coming back to us here, outside. Ooh, easy.
Keselowski was 6th before pit stops. So we still have about half a dozen.
Look at there. You see the nut off the wheel right there.
Oh,
wheel come off.
Yeah.
You said it, Larry. Just was on pit road. And the reason that thing stayed on there is it was sliding around the track. I can't believe he's made it. He's going to come on to pit road right now. Made it all the way around there. Got that wheel on. Stay out of the penalty. Penalty's been done, though.
So William Byron has not stopped, nor has Joey Logano. Eric Jones, remember he rode around at the end of the stage. He's in 3rd place right now with Denny Hamlin in 5th, Alex Bowman in 8th. They have not been on pit road since lap 85.
Mike, Rudy Fugel, crew chief for William Byron, told me several weeks ago, we won the Daytona 500. We got a bigger playbook to work with. We've already got a win.
Good point. Caution. Debris on the racetrack puts us under caution at lap 138.
Okay.
Before the end of the pit stop cycle.
We made it. They've done everything they could to keep from doing it. Any other time they'd have thrown it that quick.
And the 43 is now come to pit road.
Well, that
Reddick and Blaney had unlapped themselves on those fresh tires.
You know what I love? Once a racer, always a racer. Did you hear Richard right there? We made it pit road. That's all he sees out there is that 43
you
car.
saw that's going to put you in a really good spot when all these guys have to pit right here.
You know, honestly, even all those cars that had pitted a few laps before, they've already got a number of laps on their tires. That is not going to work out well.
No, not at all, Larry.
So you have one group of cars that haven't been on pit road since lap 85, led by Byron. Another group led by Josh Berry, who pitted at lap 94, and then everybody who just pitted under green. So that's about a dozen cars that had not been on pit road in quite a while. Now, one of those that stopped was Chris Buescher. He will get the free pass on this caution flag. Everybody else, guess, Larry, will they have to wait and take the wave around? Now let's go back to Keselowski in that pit stop.
So hard to tell right there. And you can see the wheel nut fly off of this thing right as this car is spinning out. Right. Oh, I got my pin upside down right there. That's the nut that holds the wheel on. And there it is.
Tough break for a really good car. Brad was needing a good run here. Had one going. Major setback.
Well, Richard, Kyle, we've been thrilled to have you join us for a little bit of this race. Thank you for coming by.
It's been interesting watching y'all try to operate up here.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, because last year on leaving you said, I don't know what race you guys were watching, but it's been a pretty good one for the 43 so far.
Yeah, the big deal is when I'm sitting here and see what I see on TV, and the race is really back about 15th or 20th, them guys, they drive their fanny off every lap. I mean, they're really racing back there, but, you know, it's, if you're here, you can see that. You can't see it on TV.
No, we try to get back there as much as we can, but you're right. If you want to see it all, come buy a ticket, right?
You got it. I'm with you.
Well,
thank
Richard,
you guys. Enjoy
Kyle,
it.
thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for coming up. The king. Nothing cooler.
Pit road's open, Jamie.
Josh Berry in that awesome Jim Clark throwback paint scheme makes his way down pit road. Said he could be a little bit tighter, got a little free as they went on, but they're going to leave it alone, just put 4 tires in it. Meanwhile, the 20 of Christopher Bell, we talked about his issues, just the car was not happy, no grip in that first stage. Said he was a little bit better here. He said the car just will not turn when you put stickers on it, which is what they just did. Regan?
Joey Logano been battling loose in the 22 car the majority of the day. No different this run, but they have been making gains on it as he progresses forward. In the 24, William Byron had to work the tires a little too hard. That run got free at the end.
There's race off pit road, and Byron a winner once again. Darlington, the Goodyear 400. We got to take a picture up here. Hope you can get us to break.
Situation for Ryan Blaney, who was not happy to see that caution. He had just unlapped himself. The strategy was going to work out for the 12, being one of the first on pit road during that last cycle, but he had unlapped himself, just pitted again for 4 tires. Some others that benefited from it, Josh Berry was on, the 19 of Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, those 2 Goodyear Toyota still working on their race car after a long day. Perhaps this caution works out for them. Yeah, that track position is so important.
Next week, NASCAR speeds through Thunder Valley for a triple-header weekend. Racing starts Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 with the Truck Series.
Greg Biffle won twice here at Darlington, drove the pace car for today's race. 19 career Cup victories. He is a nominee for the NASCAR Hall of Fame and joins us here in the booth. Had a great lengthy discussion last night about rules and short track racing and stuff you're doing with Cletus McFarland, and wow, looks like you are having a ball.
Well, that conversation was at the bar, and you kind of look like, well, you never left the bar.
Yeah, I know. I lost my sleeve. No, it was fun. We had a great conversation. I'm sitting there after drink, having a beer, and on our way back to the hotel, and we had a great discussion about all the rules. I think we got it all figured out.
I hope so.
Speaking of fun, boy, you've been having a lot of fun lately.
I have. I've been having a lot of fun. Just ran the Freedom 500 this Friday night, and doing a bunch of stuff on YouTube and videos and having fun with Cletus. So.
Well, that's good. When you come back to Darlington, you always ran really well here. You've been back here several times. What do you see out of these cars in today's NASCAR world?
I mean, it looks a lot of the same. I remember racing you side by side here. We're up front in the lead. But tire wear, fall off, 3 seconds of fall off. So it looks like the tire wear is back.
All right, we're back under green. Chase Elliott had to make a second pit stop in that sequence.
Well, exactly what Greg said is what we all love about Darlington. No matter what generation car, driver, whatever you bring, it's the same old Darlington. And you see these restarts as wild as they've ever been, coming up out of that hole, off of turn 2, over the bump, and got to get it sorted out. Get in trouble really quick here.
Another thing I'm seeing, obviously, that untimely caution shook things up yet again with this race. Seeing some new equipment up front. Josh Berry, Bell. Here it is, Denny Hamlin finally got that track position back.
Bell and Berry going at it 4th and 5th right here. That is my pick, Clint. You asked. Best throwback paint scheme, the Wood Brothers, and that Jim Clark Indy winning number 21. Love it. What history.
You want a history lesson, Biffle? You come up here and spend a day with me on a Saturday at a paint, throwback weekend, all these paint schemes. We went to the colors, the reason the colors are, the numbers. And it's been educational, hasn't it, Harv?
And you will also have no problem finding the best restaurants in town, the most historical spots in town. Mike is definitely our school teacher for the weekend.
We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of cool paint schemes here. I'm telling you, it's neat to come and see it. But I'll tell you what, the bumps are back, Kevin. I went down there and drove that pace car, and across 1 and 2, it's rougher than I thought.
Yeah, when they put that patch off of turn 2, and they've actually ground the entrance and the exit of the patch, and when you come off the exit of turn 2, if you're not right in the middle as you go down the hill, right here, and if you're not in the right spot with the way that the bump limiters and things are, they're still bouncing off of them, but it's all that you can tolerate, and you have to have the wheel straight right there, or it'll do what Kyle Larson did earlier. It wasn't because of the bump, but it'll do the exact same thing if you come off that corner tight and have to pinch the car down over the bump.
You can't keep a good man down. This Ryan Blaney will not go away. Right back to the front he goes.
Trying for his first top 5 finish ever at Darlington. He's led laps here. He's run well here. Looking for a big finish.
Yeah, it'd be a great day to win in the throwback to your dad paint scheme on board that Dutch boy Ford Mustang, Menards Ford Mustang there. It's pretty cool when you can throw it back in the family.
Greg, I knew which scheme he was going to pick before the weekend ever started. What's yours?
There's so many great paint schemes, but the Wood Brothers on this throwback paint schemes always seem like they have some of the best. Throughout the years, the Motorcraft car and all those other things. It seems like they do it the best with the crew uniforms and all that.
That settles it, guys.
Yep.
Mike Joy, the King, Greg Biffle, everybody said the Wood Brothers.
Well, they've got 75 years to choose from. They've got more history than anybody else to pick from. But that Blaney scheme that you saw a moment ago, his dad Dave was World of Outlaws champion, raced in the Busch Series, raced in the Cup Series, nearly won a Cup race for Bill Davis, but he did have a Busch Series win, and that is what is replicated on Ryan Blaney's car today. They just couldn't get the avocado green on there. He was a little disappointed about that, but car looks great, and it's running up front.
Always look better up front.
Well, let's talk about who's running up front. I mean, new life into the car of Joey Logano, Hamlin, Bell. They've got the track position. Josh Berry, add his name to the list. Finally, those cars are handling, Kevin.
And the more track position that they get, the better they're going to handle. You get stuck in the middle of this pack, and you don't have a perfect handling car or a really fast car, you wind up just getting stuck. So being able to have some things fall your way, and you guys have been here enough. There's just moments in these races at Darlington that come down to you're either on pit road or not on pit road, or the caution comes out at the wrong time, right time. It always seems that we have those moments that happen in these Darlington races.
Right here could be one of them. Todd Gilliland up top, Justin Haley on the bottom. That's a Ray Fox paint scheme for Gilliland. Ray Fox Sr., nominee to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in past years, great mechanic and car owner. 4 generations of Foxes working in NASCAR. Great grandson is changing tires. His grandson has been a car chief and mechanic. Oh, yeah.
Well, that right there, Greg, is one thing that has changed. There weren't too many times that somebody would stick on the outside of your right rear quarter panel when you were driving the cars. It just, you couldn't make it happen. The cars would spin out.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. And I was all just inched up there when I was watching them come off the corner. It's these cars will stick there, but that's a tough drive.
And one thing that's really different with these Gen 7 cars compared to the cars that we're talking about, they just don't get as loose underneath each other. They don't lose all the air off the side of the car and off the rear deck and spoiler there. So that's been one thing that's been kind of good about the Gen 7 cars. You can run side by side a lot easier and not spin out.
Yeah, more underbody aero keeps the cars not as sensitive.
33 laps to go in stage number 2. William Byron incredibly has led every lap so far at Darlington. Logano, Hamlin, Bell, Berry trying to catch him. William Byron leads by 1.2 seconds over Joey Logano, as you see from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100 to the Goodyear blimp. Happy 75th to Darlington Raceway. There's a look at the lead. Byron, Logano, Hamlin, Bell, Berry, the top 5. Ryan Blaney has slipped to 6th, and we'll show you why here.
Caught it with the right rear, pulled the right front back around. That's a pretty good, that's not just a love tap there.
Yeah, and we talk about how Kyle Larson drags the right rear, and that's what you don't want when you hit the right rear and then it grabs the right front, and then it feels like a magnet. You can't get the thing off the wall.
You get 3 stripes for that one.
Well, what you can't afford, and the lap times and the data will show it, is that toe link's bent. That'll be a major setback for them, not only on the racetrack this run, but it'll take a long time to fix it.
So Blaney in 6th. Right behind him, Ty Gibbs and Ty Dillon, both having good runs here today in the top 10.
And that's why you just have to grind away at this racetrack. Just keep the car rolling, keep yourself on the lead lap. And we saw Ty go a lap down earlier. A caution came out, he got the wave around, got back on the lead lap, and all of a sudden it flips the other way, and you wind up with the track position just off of a timely caution.
Now that Ty Dillon scheme is something their sponsor came up with. It throws back to a Busch Series car that they had back in the day, Beaver Street Foods. That is Patty Moise, who was a very good Busch Series driver, and that was her sponsor. Now they're on Ty Dillon's car.
Business is picking up, and its track conditions is changing a lot. Huge cloud up over the track, dark, and it has cooled down a lot, picking grip up for these guys. This will play in favor of some cars and others not so much.
Yeah, and when you come back for the Southern 500, that's always the trick. And right now we're seeing a little bit of the same thing with this heavy cloud cover. When you go from day to night, and who has the car when that car goes from day to night? So is it going to stay overcast like it is now? Is the sun going to come back out? But we've seen William Byron be good no matter if the sun's in or out. So he's led every lap.
William Byron has led 163 laps. Statistically, that does not bode well here. Drivers who lead the most laps in the last 5 Darlington races finished no better than 4th, and mostly outside the top 20.
Yep, we're the downers.
Thanks, Debbie. Yep. Regan?
Like Denny Hamlin in the 11 car up to 3rd position. Of course, it stayed out when that most recent caution came out. Use that to take advantage, get track position back. But something to keep an eye on over the next few laps here with that 11 car. About 28 laps into a run is when he says it goes like a light switch from maybe being a little bit too tight to very loose. That's what it was the last long run that we had. Right now, since we went green, about 22 laps in. So let's keep an eye on what takes place and if they've made gains on that 11.
Yeah, and that's just what happens in this car. Even if you have a tight condition, the right rear tire at this racetrack, it drives off the right rear tire. You have to take care of it. Even if you're pushing, the right rear tire is gonna wear off the car, and like we talked earlier, a lot of these cars just tank.
Greg, riding along here with Denny Hamlin, take me around this place. You've been around it just as much as we have.
Yeah, I was noticing his hands. You know, it looks like the car is starting to free up, and like Kevin said, you know, the cars just naturally free up. The tires wear, and the car typically here goes loose. That tends to be better than tight, because if it's tight and you're running up along that wall, the only thing you can do is just slow down. Just slow down. So it's, you know, the groove right against the fence all the way around this racetrack. And sometimes you run a little bit lower down in 3 and 4, but typically it's right up against the fence.
Yeah, and the hard part about this car is it has a natural rotation when it wants to rotate on its own. So with the Gen 7 car, you have to anticipate that rotation to try to keep it from over-rotating. And when you're tight, it makes you slower to get to that point of being able to anticipate it to keep the car from snapping loose. So you get behind, and that's what happens. You get tight, and then it snaps loose because you're behind on the anticipation of the rotation.
And the other side of that is just both ends of this racetrack being so drastically different. 1 and 2, I was comfortable. I could walk that thing around there and really felt like I could be very competitive. Never was comfortable exiting turn 4 on that wall. And I needed to be, right?
Kyle Larson back in the race after a lot of repairs to the front end of that car. Now, when you return to the race from the garage, you have 3 laps, 3 consecutive laps to make NASCAR's minimum lap speed. They did, so they can continue. Here's what happened back at lap 4.
And a lot of people would be asking, why would you do this? Why would you want to go back out on the racetrack and run around 160 laps down? Well, I'll tell you why. They lost the regular season championship last year by 1 point, so pretty easy math.
Yep.
Remember, this is where we come back and start the playoffs, too, in September. They wanted to put pages in their notebook.
Well, William Byron, his teammate, has led every lap so far. And prior to the green flag pit cycle, everybody in the top 10 except Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney were 15th or worse prior to green flag pit stops. So things here have changed. 15 laps to go in stage 2 at Darlington. We take you Fox side by side. Nine different faces have gone to victory lane in the last 9 races at Darlington Raceway. And here they are. Will William Byron become the first repeat winner among those 9, or will it be somebody else? We'll find out in 119 laps at the track too tough to tame. Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, and Greg Biffle with you here in stage number 2. When the hurricanes hit western North Carolina, the government, FEMA, everybody seemed all kind of handcuffed in red tape, and you hopped in your helicopter and became the hero of hurricane relief. I know you're not a glory chaser. You weren't doing it for the publicity. You were doing it because there were people out there that needed help, and you found a way to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a weird deal the way it came together. I got a message that somebody needed help. Somebody needed, to be airlifted out. And I just thought, if I don't go, who's going to? And we had no idea at that point what was good, what we were going to see. And once I got in the air and got up there and saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, and no communication, no power, roads are blocked. And this is in a city setting here. But when you get up in the mountains, there's no access anywhere. And so it was, just jumped into action and off we went. And then the helicopters that came after that, the people, the messages I got.
Well, that's it. It wasn't just what you did. It was all the social media that was generated by your efforts attracted people and equipment and supplies, and a bunch of us chipping in for helicopter fuel.
Yeah.
And it became just a huge groundswell effort. And you folks did what, I don't know why, the government couldn't do to help these people.
Yeah, and I think it's something that people just weren't ready for. Well, how does a hurricane hit the mountains? And it was just, I think it caught everybody off guard that, how do you get in there? There's a tree down every 30 feet for miles and miles. And then when you get there, the road's washed out, the bridge is washed out. The water's 60 feet deep over top of the roadway, and just took everything in its path. And so it was in all the race teams, people came and brought supplies and helped out. It was a tremendous thing to see the humanitarian effort of just people in general.
Well, all of Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, thank you. I mean, what a wonderful humanitarian response.
And I think when you look at NASCAR racing, there isn't a sport that does it better from an event like that, or charity, or supporting each other. This sport is such a tight-knit group of people, and when those things happen, you won't find a more giving group of people than this NASCAR community.
Yeah, and the last thing to that is the network of NASCAR.
Right.
Your lifelong efforts being in this sport and the people that you meet. Man, we needed I know a guy. Let me call this guy. I remember this guy, right? You just through that connection of life living in NASCAR and all these people, all these companies that you've, not only represented but worked with, and that network sure helps out when you're in a situation like that.
And it did, and it was crazy to see the amount of, all the people delivering, supplies and furniture rows, sending tractor trailer loads of bedding and all kinds of things. So it just, everybody poured out support and brought merchandise and brought stuff, and we flew it out and got it to the places that needed to go. And I think the Starlink, story was the best. They delivered us 300 units basically overnight to my shop. We took them to the airport and had them on helicopters at sunup.
Wow.
It was a pretty neat effort to get search and rescue and to get the folks back into communication. Who needed help was the biggest thing.
Fantastic.
Well, I thought, Kevin, when Ryan Blaney hit that wall, as hard as he hit the wall, it would hurt him, but he's hanging tough right there in the top 10. Hasn't taken him out of this race.
No, his pace has still been pretty good, and if something's wrong with his car, you sure wouldn't be able to tell.
And then I'm going to tell you, just what a difference this caution made. Look at the top 10. You've got Ty Dillon up there, Gibbs, Bell. He had trouble early. And these guys that Reddick, we saw at the tail end of that run those guys down. But Buscher's back there now, struggling back here in dirty air, needing a clean air. Logano, add him to the list up there. Denny Hamlin started up there, had trouble because, it swapped when they came in and took tires, lost the track position, and luckily got it back here. Don't want to lose it again. William Byron, I think he just might lead every lap here. I don't know.
Well, he may be lucky that this stage only has a lap and a half to go, because Joey Logano is coming.
And it seemed like Logano struggled early in this race, and I was shocked by that to see that he just wasn't making any progress, and now he's
track position.
And you see right now, that is exactly right, Clint. You see William Byron has caught the tail end of the field right there, and he just can't go anywhere in traffic at that. Logano has clean air and has run right up to him.
Going to put stage 2 in the books right here. William Byron holding on. Cody Ware is going to stay on the tail end of the lead lap, and Byron captures stage 2. He is only the second driver in stage racing history to lead every lap of the first 2 stages. Chase Elliott did it at Martinsville in 2022. William Byron dominates.
I see all these stats before the race. I see more stats than I ever have in my life, and you have to be 30 and under to win at Martinsville in the next year. And I'm so happy that you just put a dagger right in the middle of that thing for the old guys. So,
well, I appreciate it, and I saw some stats this morning, kind of like on when the guys that retired stopped winning, and there's one guy that's way up on that chart. It's Kevin Harvick that won. And I remember when I started this podcast a couple years ago, I was like, well, that guy's still winning. He's 46, 47 years old and still kicking our asses. So hopefully I'm half as competitive as you were at that age, because it's a great feeling.
Join Kevin every Tuesday and Thursday. Is this the best podcast in NASCAR? Tune in and see Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by Echo Park Automotive. Jamie?
Well, Mike, the Wood brothers have contributed so much to the NASCAR community and the sport in general over their 75 years, especially back in the 60s when they developed the modern day pit stop. As everybody gets ready to come in, let's meet the guys going over the wall for the Wood brothers.
Parks Jones, front tire changer. I've had the opportunity to be a part of the Wood brothers' 100th and 101st win.
Trevor White, rear changer, and I played football at Baylor University.
Mason Plant, tire carrier, played football at Wingate University.
Weston Kramer, jackman, former defensive tackle for Indiana University. Go Hoosiers.
Blake Baker, fueler, played football at North Ryan University.
Miles Stanley, the crew chief. Jason Jarrett, the spotter. Stanley, longtime engineer at Team Penske. Todd Gordon's engineer for, I think, 13 years there.
So let me get this straight. We've now heard who invented the modern day pit stop with the Wood brothers that are on site today, and Petty family was up here and invented the window net. So we've uncovered a few things again. We haven't uncovered them today, but reminded some people.
So we were talking with Greg about the first Southern 500, 1950. Johnny Manson of Plymouth was the slowest qualifier. He won the race because he ran 6-ply truck tires, never had to change them. Everybody else was blowing out tires. They were getting wheels and tires from fans' cars in the infield and stuff like that. But what else was unique about that racetrack?
Well, what was unique about it is they said they all ran down on the bottom of the racetrack, what we call the apron, off of the racetrack. And I guess the racetrack was only what we call the racetrack, 1 lane wide. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, till somebody got shoved up onto the banking and said, hey, this is fast.
They had trouble on that 12 car. Left side trouble, Kevin. That was a slow stop.
Well, we cover it every week, and right on the brink of disaster, and you see it again right there by Ryan Blaney this time around.
So Byron again first off pit road, and Justin Haley with trouble backing up. Here's the 12 stop.
They couldn't get the jack under the car.
Here in Darlington with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers. Through 2 stages, the story has been William Byron. No pole sitter, by the way, has won this year, but from the pole starting today, he has led all the way. Last year, he won 3 of the first 8 races, but didn't win a race after that. The Daytona 500 winner trying to close out his second win of this year. Let's do a quick recap, Jamie, because there were some cars threatening some drivers that were trying to apply some heat, but a caution changed that. Kyle Larson came in as the favorite, running 19th. You see the 5 car. He was the odds-on favorite. Out early. He is back on the track, but not a factor after dominating this race before. Lap 82, 22-year-old Carson Hocevar with Riley Herbst involved in a crash. Contact. This is behind the leader. Byron goes on to win stage 1 and stage 2, but the loose wheel, this caution that came out of Keselowski changed everything.
Yeah, the lug nut actually was on the racetrack. NASCAR threw the caution. I thought the 2 guys that could contend with William Byron, Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney, they had pitted, got caught out. Blaney, though, had recovered, got all the way back to 4th. We saw the issue on pit road with just over 100 laps to go in this race. I don't know if he can get back up there. The other big benefactor, though, was Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's now running 2nd. It seemed like he didn't have a car when he was back in dirty air. It didn't have the track position he needed. Right now, though, the 4-time winner is in a great position.
Yeah, in a place where legend, myths are created here in Darlington. Byron hoping to add to his or create even more of one. Let's go back to Mike and Kevin and Clint in the booth.
Thanks, Chris. Greg Biffle's been with us for stage number 2. Thanks for being part of Throwback Weekend, driving the pace car, hanging out with Clint, me, and Elton Sawyer last night. There was a long conversation. There'll be more of that. But, boy, glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love to come up here and check this out and be around you guys.
It's always good to see you, Greg. Always, especially with fun. Fun looks good on you. It looks like you're having fun. Anytime you show up, come into the booth to be on TV with no sleeves on, screams you're having fun, baby.
I know. I had to do it.
I mean, typically Clint is our lead rapscallion up here in the booth. So,
yes.
You know, today you came in with no sleeves.
That's right.
Kind of tried to take some of his thunder away.
I love it.
Next time I'll have my suit on, I promise.
Okay, good.
And my tie.
Yeah.
Did you take that helicopter down here? You flying home?
Of course.
My man.
All right, back to business. Noah Gragson entered pit road, not single file, and equipment leaving the pit box for Ricky Stenhouse, so they will restart in the back. Justin Haley had to come back and tighten the lug nut on his number 7. Remember, that was Kyle Larson's crew last week. They pretty much swapped crews for both cars supplied by Hendrick Motorsports. Let's get ready to restart. Byron and Hamlin, Logano and Gibbs, Bell and Reddick, row 3. Berry and Bowman, row 4. Dillon and Busher, row 5.
Well,
we still have 33 cars on the lead lap.
And these guys all know how hard it is to pass today, and they're going to get more and more aggressive on these restarts. So here we go.
Speaking of which, a lot better restart for that inside line. Joey Logano. Didn't happen. Boy, I was hoping to see a side-by-side. Somebody challenged William Byron.
Well, Hamlin had the measure of him. Here comes Christopher Bell on the outside. He's wheeling, but nowhere to go. He's stuck right there behind Hamlin. He had a great launch off turn number 2. Bell did. He wants more and gets it. Bell to second place.
Well, we've seen Christopher Bell's car run really good on the short run. I should say it's run better on the short run than it has the long run. So it's amazing what happens when you get that track position and put yourself.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Josh Berry in the wall.
Both of those cars unloaded off of that bump. I couldn't really see who was on the inside of him, but that's the car that I saw sideways first. Then here, yeah, it's Reddick.
Not clear, I would say.
Yeah,
he definitely was not.
A lot of front end damage to the Wood Brothers car. 7th caution flag of the day. AMR safety team right there to assist Josh Berry. Window net down. Looks like he may be climbing out. We'll see. Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Doug Bowles sent the Wood Brothers a letter asking them to run this scheme again, please, when they come to the Brickyard later this summer to honor Jim Clark's Indy win. So we love it, but
see Reddick
caution, contact with Reddick. Berry ends up in the wall hard with the right front.
Remaining of the 293 that make up the Goodyear 400 this afternoon here at Darlington Raceway. Yellow flag is out for the 7th time for the standby Josh Berry on the tour down the middle of the backstretch. A couple of cars falling back in the field. How big is up on pit road this time? They can do so. There are some fresh Goodyear wheels and some extra fuel in the cars.
NASCAR on Fox next Sunday, Bristol, Tennessee, 1:30 Eastern Time on FS1. IndyCar at Long Beach next Sunday, 4:30 Eastern on Fox. And the NHRA in Las Vegas next Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. All the quickest and fastest motorsports are on Fox.
Yeah, and as we go back and look at this, Clint, you know, we see the 45 and the 21 right there.
I see the 21 yield the position, lifted a little bit to let him in. Reddick thought he was clear, just like they said on the radio, not clear. Got up into him, took his front end away, put him in the wall and spun him out.
Josh Berry had been a top 5, top 10 car
just
all day.
Close. I mean, that's close, tight quarters racing off the 2. I think the intentions were right on both drivers. Unfortunately, ruins Josh Berry's
as you
day.
look at that view right there, I mean, you see that Berry's coming down the hill to try to get in position, and 45 is coming up, and it's just they came together at a bad time right there when one was going down the hill and the other's up the hill more than the guy on the outside in the 21 Josh Berry expected.
You hear him walk, trying to lift to give him the position. It happens fast,
quick,
especially in that corner.
7th caution of the day. Riley Herbst will get the free pass. Regan?
Well, Mike, on that last pit stop, Denny Hamlin picked up 1 position, and we've been seeing some interesting new moves on pit road. Take a look at what his team is doing on pit road in terms of the jackman and what he has to do running around the race car. You'll see it right here when they drop the jack. Watch this. The jack slings around from behind him. He crosses his hands over and saves a couple steps right there. One of the guys that's had to learn that this year, Joe Alexander Bonial, and I know I probably just butchered that name, but I tried really hard. You've been doing that move the majority of the season. How long does it take to get the hand-eye coordination and figure all that out?
Man, it's a long process. It took about every bit of the off season, and you just every rep you're gaining a little bit more confidence, enough to take it out to the track, because this is a lot of risk out here. But yeah, I'd say about the entire off season.
Well, it's looking good right now. You picked your driver up a position. And Mike, I can tell you that Chris Berkey, the pit crew coach for Joe Gibbs Racing, he tasked these guys with finding a way to save steps and get every 10th of a second on the pit road, and they have been doing that.
I'll tell you, that's awesome. He looked like Junior Johnson slinging that jack around the front of the car, or maybe Jeff Hammond.
Didn't
in
Junior Johnson take somebody out, maybe allegedly on purpose?
An official was giving them a hard time, and the official would stand at the front of the car out on pit road during the pit stop. And as the story goes, Junior decided to teach that official a lesson. And as he swung the jack, he swung it right around, took the feet right out from under that official.
Sound like he might have been in the way, Mike.
And as I watch that video right there, that's what I think about the front tire carrier right there. I'm like, oh man, that gets a little wide. Gonna get
when you're talking
jack right in the knees.
Pit stops inside of 9 seconds. It's all the little things.
The egg-shaped Darlington Raceway. You'll see it from our aerial coverage today. Presented by Goodyear, celebrating 100 years of an American icon, the Goodyear blimp.
End of that story, the official was never assigned to the 11 pits ever again.
Right. The biggest drubbing in the history of Darlington Raceway came here in 1965 in the Southern 500. It was Ned Jarrett's only Darlington win. He went on to win the championship in the Cup Series that year. He won by 14 laps. That is a NASCAR record. That'll never happen again with stage racing and wave arounds and free passes and everything we know today. But I would say what William Byron is doing today is the closest to what Ned Jarrett did in 1965 in today's NASCAR. This is a drubbing. He's led every one of 200 laps so far.
Well, if it stays this way, this race was won yesterday with that huge lap that he put himself in front of this field.
Well, and all the drivers that we talked to talked about how important that qualifying lap was on this particular racetrack.
Here's some Kyle Busch audio.
This car, this track, all this sucks ass because you had the 11 and the 20 that were bleeding all day in the 20s. Like, I was about ready to pass the 11 when I was and here we are, the race has flipped and they're running top 5 just fine, so all about where you put the staple.
Well, we kind of noticed that the way this race has had comers and goers based on timing of pit stops and where you are in the restart lineup, and Kyle Busch now finds himself 18th. That's the source of that frustration.
Well, and we noted it. I mean, we were all over it with Bell and Hamlin.
Yep.
Once they lost that track position, mired in traffic, they didn't go anywhere.
My opening line in the pre-race show today had the word frustrating in it. And that is this racetrack, because it becomes difficult to pass. It becomes very one line, hard to find somewhere to set somebody up for a pass. So as a driver, it is very frustrating. You got to keep yourself focused.
Ready for the restart. Byron and Bell fire off. We're back to green, stage 3.
Oh man, Christopher Bell, he got off to a good launch right there and has actually got a half a car length on William Byron right now.
He sure did. He rolled to him. I noticed that he kind of lagged back a little bit and rolled to him. Byron on the outside, drag race off of 2 down this backstretch. Here we go.
This just might be the first lap of this race that William Byron doesn't lead.
Well, William Byron's going to have the momentum off the top of that racetrack on the exit of turn 4, and he's going to keep this lead.
Amazing.
These cars are very sensitive to that momentum that you have to keep, and if you can keep that center corner roll speed up to where it needs to be, that high lane is always going to have the run up off the corner.
Big gaggle here. Looked like that car on the outside, Nemechek, might have brushed the wall and backed everybody upright in that group.
Yeah, he definitely got high off of 2, had to lift out of the gas and stacked them up big time.
Yeah, we see 2 cars that were up towards the front of the racetrack. The number 12 there, Ryan Blaney, had some trouble on a pit stop, and Ryan Preece right behind him ran in the top 5 at the beginning of this race and just has not been able to make his way back up towards the front in traffic.
Jamie?
Such a good day going for Josh Berry. Talked about you, the Wood brothers, so much, and then it came to a screeching halt. What exactly happened there on track?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. We had a pretty good restart there. I got a little checked up and lost some momentum behind Joey, and Tyler got underneath me there, and we kind of just ran out of room, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say in that moment. Obviously, just tough to get off of 2 with that bump and everything. So I don't know. We just kind of got together. So I don't know. Our cars are fast. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna run up front. We're gonna be in this position again. Just want to thank everybody at Ford Motor Company. Obviously, we had amazing Jim Clark throwback here today. Everybody at Motorcraft and Quick Lane, and we'll go get them next week.
Thanks, Jamie. So Byron did not cede the lead here. He has now led for 205 laps, and he's pulled out about 0.4 of a second on Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin in third, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, all contenders in the top 5. And how about Ty Gibbs? You know, ran that last segment up in the top 10, and he's solid there in 6th place.
Yeah, they've done a great job of keeping themselves in the game. And as we've talked about all day, that's what you have to do here. Just keep yourself in the game. You do not know when the cautions are going to fall. They did a great job taking the wave around, actually went a lap down, took the wave around, got themselves back up front when the caution fell their way, and have not left.
Alex Bowman 7th, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones in the top 10.
A couple of guys also that just these guys are both really good, them and their teams, at grinding out races. Even when something happens during the day, we've seen Alex Bowman have that happen a few times today. Chris Buescher and his team, they're just so good at finding their way towards the front.
Been kind of a quiet day for Chase Elliott so far, as his teammate William Byron has led every lap. Eric Jones right with him. They had that move of taking on tires before the end of the stage and just rolling around the last 2 laps slowly so they wouldn't have to stop again. And look, that's put him up in the top dozen.
I mean, look at the difference as soon as that happened.
Yep.
The caution came out 34-27. Boom.
Great strategy move.
Yeah,
we top 10.
And we had the king up in the booth earlier, and he approved of the timing of that caution and when it came out and how it was going to work for that 43 car. You talk about the Wood brothers, and you look at this Richard Petty throwback scheme here. We've covered it pretty well, but man, there's just not many schemes that stick out like that 43 old SDP paint scheme.
Let's have a look at today's big move, sponsored by Pods. And it was after this restart where it looked like Christopher Bell just might get the better of William Byron. But he had the top lane, and Big Mo, the momentum coming up off the corner. And Byron continued in leading every lap so far at Darlington. That's your Pods big move. Regan?
Well, Mike, I want to go back to the last pit stop, which was lap 189 for William Byron. And what he said as he came onto pit road, he told crew chief Rudy Fugel that was the first time all day it really took a big swing to the loose side on him. And you could hear a little bit of concern in his voice. Of course, that was a long run right there. He also commented on the fact that he felt like it was the clouds that caused that. Well, as I look up at the sky right now, it's very overcast currently, and it does look like there's some other clouds out there. So something to keep an eye on as we get further and further into this run, and he continues to get a little pressure from the 20 of Christopher Bell.
Scattered big clouds here in Darlington County this Sunday afternoon. Big hot day. Here's the Hunt Brothers Pizza on board for Joey Logano, sitting in 5th, just about a second behind Tyler Reddick. This, to me, I think is one of the most successful throwbacks, not just for the paint scheme, not just because it honors Cale Yarborough, who was such a hero here and from nearby Timminsville, but Joey's connection with Cale. Early in Joey's career, Cale taking him around the racetrack, telling him where the trouble spots were, giving him advice of what to do. And obviously, when somebody does that, who's a Hall of Famer and an '84 race winner, that's got to be something you never forget.
No, not at all. I was fortunate to be around Cale when we ran a throwback scheme back in 2016. And just like Joey, when you're fortunate enough to run one of those paint schemes by one of these legends that meant so much to the sport, and especially at somewhere that's so close to home with him, I mean, it's definitely, you like the helmet.
Well, I love it. Old school. The only thing it said on it's Cale.
Well, it says Cale on the right side. It says Joey on the left side.
That's this one. I'm talking about old Cale's. There's nothing cooler than that. Just simple, plain, got the job done. Really neat human being, Cale Yarborough.
He was, and just tough as nails. And I remember talking to Cale on that particular day and just listening, just like when we have Richard Petty and Kyle Petty, and you listen to the Wood brothers and all the things that they've been able to experience and talk about, and driving those cars around today, Clinton. You just look at the interior of the cars and the things that they raced with, going 180, 200 miles an hour in those cars. You're like, how are they all still alive?
Yours had a cigarette lighter.
How did they all not just get injured all the time in these race cars? Because those cars, I mean, it's got a ton of power and very little safety.
There is no way I would ever want to wreck that car.
How were your seatbelts held in?
Oh my God.
How were your seatbelts held in your car?
I had a couple links of chain in it, about a little 3/8 log chain.
Wow. Today is the most laps that William Byron has ever led in a cup race. 77 to go in Darlington. Open face helmets, 1970s and 80s cars. Clint and Kevin had a great time in pre-race thanks to the Wood brothers and some of the Fords from their museum with race used motors. A Boss 429 and a 351 Cleveland.
Why'd you put your seatbelts on?
Why did you not put your seatbelts on?
Those big old 3-inch belts.
Hey, they were so old. Look, we were pulling, we couldn't get them loose. Finally figured it out.
William Byron, your leader for all 222 laps. His teammate Alex Bowman, though, has been in the wall and just came around slowly, got back to pit road. He was in 8th place when that happened.
He got in the wall pretty hard, obviously hard enough that they're replacing a toe link and a right rear. We all know that that's doable, replaceable, but puts you behind the 8 ball pretty bad.
$70 to go. Can William Byron hold on to match Jeff Burton's September 2000 race at Loudon, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, in which Burton led all 300 laps.
Yeah, and interesting, you know, that particular day that Burton won that race in New Hampshire, they actually put restrictor plates on the car back in 2000. NASCAR, unfortunately, we'd had some accidents during that time that had taken the lives of some of the drivers, and they put restrictor plates on the car up there that day, and Burton led every single lap.
Yep. A couple of best friends going at it here, and racing hard for 8th place. Chase Elliott holds on to the spot from Ryan Blaney. Larry, 68 to go. What are we looking forward to?
Yeah, Mike, and that could be the difference if William Byron leads every single one of these laps, because we're closing in on green flag pit stops. Remember what happened in stage 2 with some coming a little early, some going to try to split it right down the middle when that caution came out. I'm going to say probably in about 10 to 12 laps you're going to see some drivers hitting pit road, but I would say the sweet spot is somewhere around lap 240 to 245.
Thanks, Larry.
Hillside door.
A battle for 25th, Austin Dillon, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Clear, half in line with you.
And to Richard Petty's point, there's battles all around this racetrack. There's no way TV can show them all, not all at once. Like Richard said, you got to come buy a ticket.
And we talked about this last week during the race. The mid-pack racing to the back is always way more difficult than it is up in the front. You're always fighting for your life in the back of that, in the middle, in the back of the pack.
Kevin, let's go back to that long run that we had earlier in the race, right? We saw those Gibbs cars, the 20 car in particular, Christopher Bell, really start to fall off somewhere around that lap 36 lap into the run. That's pretty much where we're at. We need to start paying attention here. Bell, Hamlin, Reddick, remember him, Buescher, those guys really came on and took care of business on that backside of the run.
Well, when you look at these laps right here, the leader ran 31.36, Bell 56, Hamlin is 60. So, I mean, the leader is, William Byron has just been lights out today, continues to be the class of the field right now. I think that the big challenge that we've seen if these runs go really long is when he gets to the back of the traffic and has a couple of cars that really challenge him, like we saw in that first stage with Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe.
Byron Chevy, the only bow tie in the first 8. 3 Toyotas right behind him, Bell, Hamlin, Reddick. Logano is the first Ford in the race in 5th, with Buescher in 6th and Blaney in 8th in the blue ovals. There's Joey's Mustang. We're only 11 days away from the 61st birthday of the Ford Mustang. April 17th, 1964. Had a big celebration last year for the 60th and a big commemorative model 60th anniversary Mustang in showrooms.
And you see right there the McDonald's car of Tyler Reddick just right up against the fence. And that, at this point of the race, when you're fatigued and it's a warmer day than you've had to deal with, as we see Ryan Preece coming to pit road.
So this will begin the green flag pit stops. Larry, in that last green flag cycle, William Byron was not drawn to pit road by the cars that pitted early. They broke that stage right in half. You think they do the same here and just wait it out?
That's a lot of laps, Mike, because splitting it right in half is about 13 to 14 laps from right now.
Wow, that is a long time.
Well, let's go back to that. They obviously got the caution, right? Changed that strategy, or helped the strategy anyway, took it out of the equation. That is a lot tougher decision now.
Long stop for Ryan Preece, and he finally gets away. Look close to 15 seconds there. Not sure what happened.
I don't know, Kevin. I think I want to, now that I've done this and I could maybe lead every single lap of this thing, I might stay a little closer to, especially when you know how good that car is against the competition all the way through the run, not only on the front side, the long run as well.
William Byron has about a 3.3 second lead, so he's got a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of time to give if those guys pit before him. And we saw earlier he never even had to get to pit road, but with the speed and the lead that he has, he can wait for a lot of these guys to cycle through, and he's still going to have the advantage because he's going to wait longer, he's going to have fresher tires, he can make sure that the caution doesn't come out and nothing crazy happens to a race.
Makes that decision easier, doesn't it?
And nothing crazy happens to a race that he's dominated.
A couple other news items this week. Steve O'Donnell promoted to president of NASCAR. Steve Phelps elevated to commissioner. Now, NASCAR had commissioners before, beginning with Cannonball Baker, but that position is now called the final appeals officer. This is the first time NASCAR has had a full-time commissioner in charge of strategy and development. So congratulations to both of them.
Sitting this time. For you back 19, he knows you'll be all good. By 5.
Now you're starting to see a lot of hear the chatter on the radio. Seeing a couple of these guys starting to come to pit road now. So this strategy is going to get scattered here. But like Larry said, that is a long ways to go.
John Hunter Nemechek comes in for his green flag stop. I think that's Shane Van Gisbergen who's in as well. But not much activity among the leaders just yet.
Yeah, just like we saw on that first run. One of those ones that I left off that list was Ryan Blaney. Him, Busher, those guys drove to the front, ran those, Byron even down. Reddick, his teammate Wallace, those guys were really, really good in the last, say, 10, 12, 15 laps of that run.
Yeah, and we'll see what the lap time is as Ryan Blaney comes by. This time he had to make a pass. So the next lap will be a true judge of what that lap time is, but we were seeing 2-3 tenths of a second faster, just like we did earlier in the race when we had those super long runs. So
and when William Byron got in traffic and they couldn't get around those the lap cars, they caught him 8 tenths. It was a second one lap. That's what you can't afford. Here comes Logano.
If you're going to beat the 24, you better do something different than the 24.
Good point.
But to Kevin's point earlier, they've got such a lead on the competition here. They can kind of sit back a little bit and watch what these guys are doing. Have an educated decision here.
Regan.
Mike, you see Joey Logano on the right side of the screen hitting pit road right now. Starts the runs too tight in turns 1 and 2. They've been working on that for a couple runs now, but just like many of the cars out there, it just swings too free for him. You'll see when he gets down here in a moment, it'll be 4 tires.
And when these cars swing free, there is just absolutely nothing you can do about it other than slow down and just run the pace that right rear tire grip will give you, because the car just feels like that the right rear tire has no tread left on it, and it just immediately flips like a switch. And
well, if you don't, you'll be in the wall.
That's right.
You have to slow down, keep the car underneath of you, race the racetrack.
Zane Smith on pit road. He's had a good run today for front row. And Tyler Reddick, first of our top 5 cars to come in. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick comes down pit road and into his box for the 7th time today. They've been pretty happy with the car. Hasn't said a whole lot. He's been quiet today. Nice top 5 effort. They were really confident coming in with what they had, what they learned in practice. Just 4 tires here and feel no adjustments for Reddick.
I like his pit sign. It's a day glow yellow, and it's the Michael Jordan Jumpman logo. Can't miss that.
Okay, I think that's Busher coming on pit road right now. That's one of your hitters. That's a top 5 car. Now we're starting to see the conversation of who can put some pressure on the 24 car and what they'll do about it.
Riley Herbst in and out. Noah Gregson is in. Busher positioned for 4 tires and fuel. Ross Chastain joins him on pit road.
And I don't think that even Buescher with where he was, I mean, he was somewhere around 8 seconds behind. That still doesn't put a lot of real pressure on William Byron. I think that.
Well, that's just his radar, right? That's who's on his radar,
right.
and
Just
that's
keeping track of him.
The other
That's
car
right.
is that 20 car, Christopher Bell on pit road now.
Jamie?
Really good effort for this 20 team. They told me they were tight and slow on Saturday. They made a bunch of adjustments. You see another chassis adjustment there. They've been doing that all day long for the 24 tires and fuel as well for Bell.
A.J. Allmendinger, Ricky Stenhouse, Eric Jones, all on pit road. Pit sign is out for Chase Elliott. All scheduled green flag pit stops. The first 15 cars have yet to pit. 50 laps to go.
Here we go. Leader on pit road.
William Byron comes in, brings it to the attention of his Hendrick Motorsports crew led by Rudy Fugle. Cody Ware just ahead of him coming down the pit lane. And here's Regan.
Well, Mike, just like Clint and Kevin were talking about up there in the booth, Rudy Fugle was coaching his driver about the gap that they had and that they could dictate when they wanted to pit, and they had a couple laps to spare. But his car did, just like it did the previous run, got to a certain point and it was extremely loose, and he came on the radio and was very vocal about how loose it was getting each of those laps.
Cindric, Gilliland, Ty Dillon are in. Keselowski's in the pit lane. Denny Hamlin is the new leader from Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Briscoe on pit road.
Yeah, and you see right there, Christopher Bell has gone by William Byron. So they waited just a little bit too long and actually have lost this, what will be for the lead right there with Christopher Bell. So now we're going to see what William Byron has. He's going to at some point have to go by Christopher Bell to get this lead back.
So Bell stopped at 242, Byron at 244. So 2 laps more with those fresh tires gave Christopher Bell that advantage.
Okay, here comes
Blaney.
Hamlin and Blaney both.
So the 2 leaders, Hamlin and Blaney, peel off. That leaves Suarez, Wallace, and Haley as the cars that have not pitted. Kyle Busch gets his service done. He's gone. Blaney's crew finishing up 4 tire change. Bubba Wallace hit it in. And that'll leave just Suarez and Haley on the racetrack. Regan.
Mike, Denny Hamlin hits pit road for his, could be his final pit stop. Was actually very pleased with the car the entire run. Didn't want any changes and no complaints out of the 11.
Henry, jig. Hard did you go? Wide did you go? Hard did you go?
Bubba Wallace into his stall. Hopefully for the final time today as they come around to the left side.
Yeah, and as we see Tyler Reddick right here, he's actually going to be the guy that's going to be in front of both Christopher Bell and the 24 car of William Byron. So this is all about the timing of when they come to pit road and how many laps that you and time that you lose on the racetrack. So these guys have put William Byron in a position that he hasn't been in all day, and that's to run in traffic and have to get by both of these cars for the lead.
So Tyler Reddick, the leader, was 4 seconds behind Byron before pit stops in 4th place. Now he's out front.
Larry, had to have been a slower stop for the 24 car. He gave up a lot of track position and only gave up 2 laps. He had a lot to be able to ride in his back pocket for insurance, but you see the 20 car ahead of him.
Yeah, the 24 car was a 10.4. The 20 car was a 10.02, and just to throw in, Reddick was the slowest of the 3 at a 10.7. The big difference, part of it could be getting on and off pit road, but the big difference is the number of laps that they pitted earlier.
So Reddick, he's spotted him 4 laps, right? He's pitted 4 laps before they did, 2 laps on Buescher to Byron.
Correct.
So Justin Haley just completes his pit stop. That leaves only Austin Dillon on the racetrack in 6th place. Everyone else has made the green flag stop. 43 laps to go. New leader Reddick over Logano and Bell. .38 laps to go, and the game has changed. Tyler Reddick now leads Christopher Bell by 6 seconds, and William Byron is third. Byron stopped 4 laps later than Reddick. He had a substantial lead, but when the pit cycle was complete, Byron finds himself in 3rd place right now after leading 243 laps from the drop of the green flag.
Well, the king of the day has been track position, and they knew that, just like what Larry said, you've got to do something different than that 24, and they were able to have the 24 stay out on the racetrack, and through that whole cycle lost enough time to be able to give themselves a lead. And now William Byron, and we've seen him struggle in the lap traffic as he's gone through the day, as he's caught the back of the pack, has to race in traffic now, and that's not something that he's done all day, so he has really no idea of how his car handles or what needs to happen. But I think, as Clint said, the later part of this run is really where we're going to see,
yes sir,
this probably all take place, when we've seen the 20 car fall off more than the 24. But who knows, what does a 24 car do in traffic?
Well, obviously 53 laps is a tall order for Reddick leading out the race. What he does have is a clean air all the way through in his track position. He's able to save his stuff, stay out there, and the other thing he has is a massive lead.
Larry, we started with 10 sets of tires plus the qualifying scuffs. If we get more cautions, do we have tires?
We do, Mike. It looks like about everybody up front still should, at minimum, have 2 more sets of sticker tires left.
Okay.
The way that they were using them all up at the beginning of the race, I was worried that we were going to make it to the end, but
I was worried if we were going to make the end of stage 1.
Yeah, we were firing tires on those cars like they were going out of style. Yep. So this race is 100 miles shorter than the Southern 500. So that definitely makes the math a little easier to add up to. Larry?
Speaking of math, Larry, what do the trends tell us?
Yeah, Mike, we normally, since we've been running this Gen 7 car here at Darlington, which is 6 races the last 3 years, we normally don't get that late race caution. Right now, the trends show in those 6 races about 26 or 27 laps to go. We're about there, but we did 2 years ago when William Byron won the race, May of 23, we did have an overtime finish in that race.
That one was messy. I was wrecked, and I think I finished second or third. So that's how fast things can change. And we've seen things change all day as now we see William Byron.
And look at him get loose underneath Bell. That's what we're talking about. You have to be careful. Try to get this pass made and conserve that tire. You're going to need it as you're running down the eventual, not the eventual leader, the leader, Tyler Reddick.
Just keep in mind, Ryan Blaney has turned the wick up. That's a long run car. We've seen every run today. And Blaney back there in 7th. I don't think he'll be back there very long. But here's the battle for second place. William Byron trying to get back to the front. Hasn't had to pass a competitive car today. He's had the lap cars, but.
Well, and you see right there, that's Tyler Reddick's teammate. And Tyler Reddick wants to see as much happen as possible for that 24 car to get as far behind as possible. And the 23 of Bubba Wallace putting himself in front of that car doesn't hurt anything that Tyler Reddick is trying to accomplish.
Bubba is 1 lap down. And here's Blaney running in 7th, chasing Denny Hamlin. This is the battle for 6th place. Chris Buescher, Joey Logano, not that far ahead.
Clear, all clear, all clear.
I'm still amazed, like you, Clint, that 12 car is still running as good as it did after it bounced off the wall several times in turn 2 with the right rear and the right front, and not really seeming to have much effect on the way that car has performed today.
Yeah, and I really thought more than likely that was a toe link bent for sure. He smacked it pretty hard, not only with the right rear, turned it in and turned the right front into it, and then slapped the right rear again 2 or 3 times, but obviously didn't slow that baby down. That thing's a rocket ship.
Saw him have a little bit of trouble on pit road there with the jack, couldn't get the jack under, and that's really how they got far behind. So if it wasn't for that little miscue on pit road, I think that they would have been right up in the mix up towards the front.
Still, believe it or not, chasing his first top 5 at this place.
Blaney moves to 6th place. Tyler Reddick, who's led more laps at Darlington than any other track, has the lead with 28 to go as we go box side by side. 24 laps to go. Tyler Reddick leading Christopher Bell by 5 seconds now. Byron in third, Logano fourth, Blaney fifth. Blaney has advanced to fifth place, as we talked about. Great long run speed on that number 12. And if his trend over the last 5 laps continues, he may catch Tyler Reddick before this is over.
Well, it's all going to be in how bad does Tyler Reddick's car tank, and he's not being able to make any ground in traffic right now. And that's what we saw happen to William Byron earlier when he lost that 3 or 4 second lead. So
I don't think it's a tire fall off that I'm concerned about with Reddick as much as these lap cars.
Well, look at what's happening right here.
Challenge him.
Joey Logano was in for tires at lap 238, well before Blaney and Hamlin, and he's going to fall to both of them. This is going to be a matter of who got tires last, who has the best tires, and for how long.
And a lot of it's going to come down to, can you get through traffic? That's what it's going to come down to, Tyler Reddick.
Traffic, 100%. I think it's traffic more than anything.
Blaney and Hamlin have 7 lap fresher tires than Reddick, 5 lap fresher tires than Bell, and 3 lap fresher tires than Byron with 21 laps to go. And next Sunday, we go to the last great Coliseum. It's Cup Series racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. Pre-race 1:30 Eastern, green flag at 3, right here on FS1. Bristol, then the Easter break, then Talladega on Fox, and then Texas.
And Tyler Reddick right there, you see him behind Brad Keselowski, who's, 2 laps down. So he's definitely stuck in a spot where traffic is affecting everything that he does. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick now has led 26 laps. He just came on the radio and asked his team, what's my gap? They said, you're doing great. Lap times look good. You've got about a 5-second lead over Christopher Bell. Of course, Tyler Reddick looking for a little redemption, Mike, after the race he had about a year ago where he came so close to winning.
Well, that's for sure. Well, that last lap, Ryan Blaney was 0.6 of a second faster than Reddick. It's just a matter of, does he have enough time, and can he get through the cars ahead of him?
Well, Reddick is stuck. He's going to run the pace that Brad Keselowski is running. So the thing that he's hoping for right now is that Brad doesn't catch a car that's slower than him and get stuck behind him.
Well, he's stuck, and then you go back and Bell is stuck underneath trying to get around Stenhouse with Byron coming up on him. They're kind of stuck. You just heard Mike tell you how fast Blaney is. He doesn't have anybody in front of him. He's got a lot of clean air on the nose of that car. I think he'll have a little bit more trouble, and speeds will probably slow down as he approaches them as well. Well, it's going to come down with 18 laps to go. I'm thinking this window is about 10 laps to go is when these cars are really going to start. The handling differential is coming, and the lap times will come after that.
And the big thing that Ryan Blaney has had is he's been able to dive that car down to the bottom of the racetrack and be able to finish passes. And you see right now, Reddick he's got that high entry into 1. That's a little bit different than Brad, but his line is against the wall. He can't really run anywhere else and make up time. The biggest problem he has right now are those cars in front of Brad Keselowski, because they're at a slower pace. Brad has caught these guys, so now it's going to jam him up even slower.
Blaney has made up 11 of the 17 seconds he was behind Reddick at the conclusion of his pit stop.
Well, look how much better it rolls the center of that corner than William Byron in front of him. Williams in trouble, tight in the center. Blaney's not. Roll in the middle well, car's free.
And this is what he wanted to have happen right there. You see William Byron have a bobble right there, and he was able to make that pass really quick. And he's going to make quick work of Christopher Bell again down on the bottom in 3 and 4 as well.
That is the key point to this. When you catch them, get by them, use the momentum, do not stall out.
And that's what he's going to do right here. He can still win this race.
And look at that number. Keeps getting smaller between Blaney and the race leader.
He passed both of those cars in 1 lap. That's hard to do. Didn't slow him down a bit either.
Ryan Blaney looking for his first ever top 5 finish at Darlington. He's led a lot of laps here. He's had a fast car here. Maybe today is the day.
And let me tell you one more. That was the fastest car on the long runs that we've seen today. Those last 10, 15 laps of runs, he was the best.
Here we go, Clint. Brad Keselowski got out of the way of Tyler Reddick, so that's going to give him some cleaner air to go up and chase down Shane Van Gisbergen right in front of him. So
another second.
That'll be the next car, the next lap car that he comes and approaches. So Brad did him a favor right there and got out of the way.
But that last lap, Reddick was 3/4 of a second slower than Blaney.
I'd say there was some communication going on. Get some help with this 6. Race is on, 14 to go.
Yeah, and it's going to be
another second. We're inside of 4 seconds now.
And this is exactly what we talked about. Pitting early. You got the car that's been one of the best cars on the long run all day. And the only car that's been able to maneuver in traffic really well has been Ryan Blaney. So that's been the benefit that he has had all day, is being able to get through traffic.
So now Ryan Preece is in front of the leader, Tyler Reddick. Preece is in a Ford. He's not going to be a friend to Reddick. But Reddick finds his way by.
Reddick's done a good job of getting cars in between him and that second place car of Blaney. MJ, he's on his feet now. He ain't sitting down anymore.
Well, right now he lost another 0.6 of a second on that last lap. So Blaney is just so much better at being able to get through traffic with the way that his car is handling it. And this move right here, when he's able to dive down to the bottom of the racetrack and finish these passes, ride that seam all the way around the corner, he's able to just make quick work of those lap cars.
11 laps to go. Ryan Blaney with a paint scheme honoring his dad's one Busch Grand National Series win, trying to get it to victory lane, and Tyler Reddick trying to hold on and capture this win for Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin and company.
Inside of 3 seconds. He's going to need some help with these 3 cars, getting them put away as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah, and right now Tyler Reddick is just...
That's what you don't want to see, is 2 cars in front of you side by side. They got it sorted out before they went in the corner.
Tyler Reddick, his main goal right now is not to make the ½ second mistake.
That's a big costly... That Preece didn't get out of his way. Cost him a lot of time right there, Blaney.
I'm not sure that'll be a logjam. I think it's going to be Blaney trying to get by Reddick's teammate there, Bubba Wallace.
Great point there, too. That one won't be easy to pass.
10 to go.
Yeah, I think Blaney's car is so much faster than...
He's let that Mustang run now. We're coming off of turn 4 and going to the whip, baby. Look at him driving that thing loose into the corner.
Just don't make the big mistake right now, Tyler. You don't want to get that car hung up on the wall just like that.
He hit it there.
He got away with that one. It didn't grab the right front tire.
I think Michael Jordan heard it on the radio. I'd say there's communication he saw right there. It was frustrating. Now look at now we're in striking distance.
Yeah, and he's caught, Tyler Reddick has caught that 88 car to a point where it's affecting him in his line, and he's not able to close that gap like he needs to.
Bubba Wallace did not impede Ryan Blaney, but now it's on. There they are, first and second.
There's time, too. Coming to 7 to go.
Blaney's had the best long run speed today. Reddick is second in that department, and Reddick has been the best defender today, statistics show. 7 to go, 1.6 seconds, the gap.
Didn't catch him much that last lap right there. Reddick put together a good lap. He got in the wall that lap before, got it behind him. Just drive your race, drive this racetrack. Well, don't worry about that car behind you. Get the most out of every lap you can with what you have.
It was better, Clint, but he still lost a ½ second. And this one he's going to lose. Oh, man. He lost 0.8 of a second that lap.
He's here.
Yeah, he's there, and he's going to go right by when he gets there, I have a feeling.
You're going to have to set him up, though. It's a timing thing. Make sure you catch him where you need to, where you can pass. It's not going to be easy.
Love that aerial coverage. Here they roll off into the corner.
It's that bottom line that he was running where he made all the passes in 3 and 4. Slipped a little bit, didn't he?
He was almost to the apron. How low can you go?
Man. The Reddick getting a wall there.
It looked like he touched the wall again off of turn 4.
Slowed him down. Another big chunk. He's here, folks. 5 to go.
And now you're on defense. You want to put
he's
your
in
car...
big trouble. Slipping, sliding around a lot. Got loose.
Reddick covers the bottom.
There's a good block.
Yep.
That's that timing thing. Caught him in a position over there getting into 2 that he couldn't do anything with him.
Now Reddick to the top. Blaney to the bottom.
Great corner by Reddick.
Got that big run off the top, but Blaney is right there.
Can't complete that corner off of 4, Kev.
No, and it's like you said earlier, the timing of all this, but he's just got no more rear grip.
You can see that 45 car. Whoa, they're touched. Made the pass. There it is.
And Blaney in the wall goes Reddick, and around goes Larson again into the inside wall.
Oh my gosh, caution. That's not what either one of those, that's not what Blaney wanted to see.
That was lap 4 for Larson. Deja vu.
4 to go.
All over again.
4s have not been good for him. Oh my gosh. Reddick got in a wall right in front of him.
Unbelievable.
You can't make that up. Same car, same corner, same lap.
Same way.
And now it comes down to just an absolute shootout on these restarts. And
now it comes down.
Here's Tyler Reddick.
I think I killed it. Sorry, guys. What are you sorry about, man? We got a lot to fight for here. Green white checker coming up. Oh, I knocked the right front of it off. I smoked the wall in. Sure, too.
See, he's going to slide up and hit the wall, and it's going to be right in the. You see 5 checked up. Bubba got in the back of him. Well, Larry, I'd say I need tires to win this race.
You could even make this call, Clint. 4 tires.
Hey. But I tell you, this is the pressure. This is why these guys make the big bucks in these pit crews.
Kyle Larson's taking his car to the garage. End of his day.
Don't count out that #1 pit stall with this 24 car as well.
He has to move 21 feet to win the battle off pit road. That's the advantage right there.
Well, he'll be coming in from 4th behind Blaney, Reddick, and Hamlin, and suddenly it's a whole new race, and it's going to be green-white checker.
There has been absolutely no flow to this race.
No!
We've had long runs, we've had short runs, we've had tires thrown at the cars. Now we're going to have an overtime finish to decide this race that has been absolutely dominated by William Byron. Ryan Blaney by far had the best car on the long run right here at the end.
Could you imagine being Ryan Blaney, just put on the absolute drive of your life to take the lead, and 2 seconds, 2/10 of a second later, the caution comes out.
Well, Blaney's crew is going to have to step it up. Statistically today, they rank 35th in what they've done today. 17 total spots lost on pit road. So now is the time.
That's not very ideal.
Well, I think a lot of those spots came on the one stop where they couldn't get the jack under the car, but still that's happened today, and now there's a lot of pressure on every one of these pit crews on pit road. So this is what it's going to come down to, pit road and a restart.
24 car needs to narrow this up as much as possible to catch those guys. They have a couple cars in between him. He is in the catbird seat with that #1 stall.
We still have 20 cars on the lead lap, and Bubba Wallace will get the free pass. Let's see how many of those 20 come to pit road right now. Jamie?
Ryan Blaney, one of them. Remember, this team hasn't finished in the top 10 in 5 consecutive races. He has a shot to win this one today. They just told him, bring it down. We need to put 4 tires on. Get that crew, get their focus right. They had that bad pit stop 2 stops ago. 4 tires here. Tyler Reddick comes to a stop in his box as well. 4 tires. They'll just take a brief look at that right side, make sure everything looks good. It sounds like it is. And we'll go up to Regan.
Denny Hamlin in the 11 car on the radio as soon as the caution came out said, free me up some. Chris Gale had asked him, what do you need for a short run? And that is exactly what he wanted. That and another quick pit stop.
All 12 got beat. All 20 lead lap cars came to pit road. That was Denny Hamlin shooting out first. How about that?
That's that pit crew. They were on it. Just covered that 100 laps ago.
Hamlin, Reddick, Byron, Blaney, and Bell. The top 5. Here's the race off pit road.
Not even close.
Nope. Wow. Larry, this changes everything.
Yes, it does. That 11 pit crew, 9.42, the fastest of all the top 5 or 6 on that pit stop.
Wow.
Money stop. Business picks up.
Slinging that jack.
Hey, proof's in the pudding. It was on display. We covered it, and boom. That's exactly what just won the race off pit road. Heartbreak for this Ryan Blaney. If I'm him, I cannot believe what just transpired.
Oh, it's not over yet.
No.
It's definitely not over yet. This is these restarts can be wild, and it just takes one little slip off of turn 2 to wreck a whole bunch of cars.
Talk about throwback. If Chris Economaki was here, he would call turn 2 Calamity Corner today.
And I would agree. I mean, it's a narrow corner. It's like a funnel. It shoves you down in there, and the next thing you know, you pop out of the hole and up against the fence, and
there you go.
If you're too wide, it is so difficult to run through there too wide.
Well, in case you missed it, let's show you what's happened here today. The first caution flag was at lap number 4 for Kyle Larson getting out of shape and into the inside wall. They made a lot of repairs to that car, and he came back out and just caused the last caution of the day. Carson Hocevar went for a spin, then Brad Keselowski lost a wheel nut, had to come back in, did not lose the wheel, so no problem there. Josh Berry, after a contact, spinning into the inside wall, and the Wood Brothers day was done. William Byron won both the first 2 stages and led the first 243 laps. And then Ryan Blaney takes the lead from Tyler Reddick, and there goes Larson again into the inside wall in just the same place. And we're going to overtime. Here's the race off pit road, won by Denny Hamlin, then Tyler Reddick, then William Byron, then Ryan Blaney with Christopher Bell. They are the players as we go to overtime.
Well, it's all going to come down to the launch right here on the restart, and who can get themselves fired off to get into turn 1.
Well, that advantage is going to go to the pole, to your leader right there. Denny Hamlin is going to take the outside. We've seen that position prevail. But how do you challenge them? You're going to need help with Ryan Blaney getting to the back bumper of the 45, time this thing perfect, and then try to put some pressure on Denny if you can get side to side with him. If you're Tyler Reddick, push him up the racetrack in 1 and 2.
Well, we saw Christopher Bell fire off really well on the last restart and was able to put himself in a great position. So we'll see what happens here.
For those of you looking for the San Antonio Brahmas against the St. Louis Battlehawks, that game is starting right now on FS2. William Byron ranks first on restarts today. Hamlin is 8th, Reddick 3rd, Blaney 12th. As we get ready for a 2-lap shootout. If the leader makes it to the white under green, the next flag will effectively end the race. 400 miles of racing, and it all comes down to these last 2 laps. Everybody here is on their feet. Keelan Harvick next to me standing on the chair so he gets a good view over his dad's shoulder.
I'm nervous.
We're all nervous.
And I don't know who I'm nervous for, Kevin.
I'm nervous for all of them.
Hamlin outside of Reddick. Byron outside of Blaney. Here we go. Green, white checker to settle the Goodyear 400.
Well, you see a great restart by Denny Hamlin in that outside lane.
Good push by Byron behind him as well. Byron can get clear of Reddick off of 2. Maybe he could put some pressure on him. Still there. Door to door.
Bell moves up to 4th. Blaney back to 5th. 3 wide going into the corner, into turn 3. Bell had a look, couldn't do it. Byron around the outside, bounces it off the wall. He's going to come for second place, but Denny Hamlin is long gone at the white flag.
Well, Denny Hamlin, they executed that pit stop really well, and now he's been able to take advantage of that with these guys racing behind him and just get a lead that is going to take him to the checkered flag.
Unbelievable.
Blaney under fire from Chris Buescher, may lose 5th before this is over. They are double file. Up front, it's single file. There's a crash off turn 2. Never mind. Denny Hamlin comes off turn number 4 and doubles up. Hamlin wins the Goodyear 400. That was John Hunter Nemechek, a harmless spin off turn number 2. No caution.
2 in a row.
And Hamlin, Martinsville, Darlington.
Thank you guys in the pit road.
Last week, Hamlin hoisted a flag given to him by a fan. 11 versus the world. And he beat the world today.
Well, that was
again.
a team effort. They beat the world today.
Did it again. You did it again.
That's what he just said.
Well, they got him off pit road first. And on the restart, Denny drives away.
Well, he just executed that restart so well and was able to get the launch and keep those guys from being able to get that side draft and keep him pulled back. He was able to clear both of those guys, and then second, third, and fourth just started racing, and he just drove off.
Well, we go to Bristol. We go to Bristol next week, and you remember who won there last year? That man, Denny Hamlin.
Great racetracks for him right now. He's on a great stretch. Martinsville, Darlington, Bristol, all in Denny Hamlin's wheelhouse.
All with another new crew chief.
And he is now 11th on the all-time win list, breaking the tie with Rusty Wallace. And for the third time in his career and the first time in 13 years, he wins back-to-back weekends.
Heartbreaker for Ryan Blaney. Unbelievable drive out of that kid in that 12 car. Finally got a top 5. Hard to believe, but he could care less about that.
So
who's doing
the backflip?
Oh, Carl was going to go down there and help him, wasn't he?
Well, I hope Carl's still here. I want to see him do the backflip.
Yeah, this paint job on Hamlin's car is a throwback to Carl Edwards, number 99 Office Depot car back in the day. And a heartbreaker for William Byron, who had nothing but clean air in front of his windshield most of the day, and by far led the most laps, 243 of them.
Yeah, these tires right here on the back of this car won't make it as far as they did at Martinsville, I'd say, but he's going to give it a try.
Going to burn down the front straightaway. Blaney did edge Chris Buescher for 6th at the line. Chastain, Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, the top 10.
Well,
here is the final restart.
Yeah, and you see Denny Hamlin roll into the restart zone right here. He just gets a great launch. 45 just doesn't get going as good, and once he was able to break that side draft, it left those guys behind him side by side, and they never really cleared each other, so that just allowed Denny to drive away.
Yeah, stalls them out. He drives off into the sunset, back to victory lane, back to back.
It's Hamlin's 5th Darlington win. Tyler Reddick ends up 4th, 1.2 seconds back. A strong day, not the one they wanted.
No, not at all.
Joe Gibbs Racing, 219th win for that organization. 11 drivers, and their 5th win this year. 11th win at Darlington for Coach as he debriefs with Christopher Bell, the 3rd place finisher.
Well, think about this. The beginning of the race, we were talking about a rough day for Joe Gibbs Racing. You look at the end of the day, we've got Denny Hamlin winning, Christopher Bell 3rd, and Ty Gibbs 9th.
Pretty good day. Ryan Blaney shares a laugh with Michael Jordan. What a finish. What a last 10 laps. Regan.
Well, Denny Hamlin scores his 56th career victory, breaking a tie for 11th with Rusty Wallace, Denny. But I got to ask you about that final pit stop. A week ago, you dominate the race. This week, your pit crew gets you out first. Was there ever a doubt in your mind after they did that you were going to win this?
I mean, there's 2 people I really love right now, my pit crew and Kyle Larson. So he had a little assist there, so thank you. But, man, the pit crew just did an amazing job. They won it last week. They won it this week. It's all about them. Thanks, Sport Clips. They have such a big deal here in Darlington, South Carolina. Shout out to Gordon and the whole team. We'll see you on Victory Lane.
This is Carl Edwards throwback. Any backflip for you today?
I'll pass. If Carl's here, he's more than welcome to jump off the car.
Denny Hamlin wins in Darlington. Jamie?
Well, Ryan Blaney brings it home 5th there. Ryan, what a battle back. You finally get the lead, and the caution comes out. What goes through your mind at that point?
Oh, no. Yeah, I thought we had the race won, and yeah, so I don't really know. I have to watch the replay of how that yellow came out and watch it back. But we did a good job great strategy call of kind of running long and giving us time to get down, run down, the 45. A lot of those guys that short pitted. So it was a great call and great car. I mean, great Dutch boy, Menards Ford Mustang, just really fast and never really got to control the race. Like, I feel like nothing ever really went our way. Like pit road, we got to work on a little bit, and caution coming out during the cycle and set us way back. So like, I feel like we just kept making up spots. But really proud of the 12 folks for giving me a fast car. It just wasn't meant to be. I really wanted and would have liked to have won here. That would have been really, really neat. But yeah, okay, we'll stack up, I guess. But yeah, just wasn't meant to be. But proud of the effort, and we'll keep plugging along.
All right, Ryan Blaney and the 12 team gets their first top 10 in the last 6 weeks, Mike.
Well, Ryan Blaney was the show, and he gets his first career top 5 at Darlington today. Turning point for Denny Hamlin was that Brad Keselowski lug nut debris. That was the turning point because Hamlin was 19th when the green flag cycle started. But once he got track position, he kept it all the rest of the day.
Well, and his pit crew executed a great pit stop there at the end, and Denny executed a great restart right after that and was able to put himself in position. But that's what these races are all about, especially at this racetrack, to put yourself in position to just keep the car rolling and doing the things that you need to do to have a chance to win at the end.
Well, don't forget there was a guy out there that led most of the race we didn't even get to talk to. He was so far ahead. Jamie, who is that guy?
William Byron led 243 laps. We started wondering if maybe you would have a perfect race, but of course the pit cycles, green flag stops. What do you take away from a day like this? You don't end up in victory lane, but gosh, what a dominant car.
Yeah, first off, just really proud of my team, to bring that level of effort and preparation and have a car like that. And for us to execute like that, it was looking like it was going to be a perfect race, and we were going to lead every lap. So was really proud of that. Those guys just could be aggressive on the other side of the green flag cycle, and we lost control there. And once we lost control, it was too late in the going to kind of get back up there. So, yeah, it sucks. I'm sure it'll sting a lot tonight, but there's still a lot of positives. It just it stings in the moment for sure.
William Byron brings it home second today.
Boy, he sure dominated the first 2/3 of this race as Jeff Gordon comes over with words of consolation. But boy, Ryan Blaney all day long on the longer runs, that car was a rocket to the front.
Well, it was, and he said it in his interview. That's what a frustrating race. Kevin, you telling me Darlington's frustrating. Nobody more frustrated than him. It was like he would take 7 steps forward, 10 back.
Yeah.
7 steps forward, 10 back, and did it like 4 different times throughout the race.
And he said it after the race. They got to fix pit road, and they stubbed their toe with the jack on the long run, and then there at the end didn't execute when they came in with the lead. So definitely have to clean that part up. As you see right here with Denny Hamlin, when you have pit road going right, it wins you races, and that's what happened again today.
You have to be in position.
That's
right. This guy probably wasn't the fastest car. Didn't even see him to that pit road. They won him off of pit road, but he's won 5 of these now at this place. There's that way for a reason.
And a great comeback for Christopher Bell, who nearly got lapped in the first stage of this race. Denny Hamlin, winner in Darlington in the Goodyear 400. Now next weekend from Bristol, practice and qualifying 2 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday on Prime. Sunday, right here on FS1, it's NASCAR race day at 1:30 Eastern time, followed by the NASCAR Cup Series race 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday. That's also right here on FS1. Denny Hamlin, the winner for Joe Gibbs and Toyota. William Byron led the most laps, finished second for Rick Hendrick and Chevrolet. So long from Darlington County.
At the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road wasn't rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.